And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another group, another day here, another week, another edition of the HSL, the Hispanic StarCraft League Group F. I'm of course your host, Live VIP, with you. I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in the chats, and by my plushies as well. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Whew, it has been an intense week of StarCraft, but also an intense week of the HSL. For those that are curious, this is our first time covering a group at this time slot. Usually we do cast at a more NA friendly time, but here today we actually had a slot available here over in a more European friendly time instead. Here we go. So the HSL, the Hispanic StarCraft League, is an initiative that was brought together here at the start of the month. Big shout out to, of course, Bond, Enki, Protosito, the Novak, and all the other casters and content creators working behind the scenes on this. For those that are curious, this is a league that was brought together by said content creators for the Hispanic region. Here we go. This event is going to include players from Latin America alongside players from Spain as well. Spanish-speaking countries, so unfortunately players from Portugal and players from Brazil are not going to be eligible for this tournament, but from all the other countries, they are jumping in. They are going to be jumping in. Again, this is essentially GSL, but for the Hispanic-speaking players, basically. So GSL, HSL, if you will, is coming at you. We have been covering this over the past week. We did cover Group A to D, and now we're here with Group F. We are skipping Group E for the time being, as matches are still being played out. As you saw in the chat, when it comes to the commands, these are matches that are casted via replays, as players are playing out their matches and organizing those matches ahead of time, and then submitting their replays. And Group E is still underway. Group E is still underway. They still have not wrapped up, but Group F have. So we're jumping into Group F instead, and we have our matches ahead of us. And I'm ready. I'm excited because this is a historic moment, especially if you're a big fan of some Spanish players. It's going to be a historic moment. It is the return of one of the best players, I mean, not just in Spain, one of the best players outside of Korea in the history of StarCraft. It's crazy. It's great. Let's go. Let us go as we switch our scenes over and catch up on the matches ahead of us. Here we go. Here we have it. Group F. We are going to be featuring a couple of Latin American players, Peruvian players. We have NeO, we have Ducklings, as well, two Peruvian Terrans. Of course, NeO is near and dear to our hearts. He's an ex-CranKy Duckling. We have Shift Click from Spain, and we have RyoGin from Bolivia, and we have VortiX from Spain as well. VortiX, if you're an old school viewer, you should know who VortiX is. VortiX, aka Luciferon's brother. Luciferon and VortiX, they're the two Spanish brothers that were the best players in Europe for a time. I mean, especially in Heart of the Swarm. Back in Heart of the Swarm, they were the best of the best. They were in contention for the best players outside of Korea, and they retired. They retired a very, very long time ago. VortiX and Luciferon, they retired around the beginning of Legacy of the Void. I want to say like 2016-ish, 2017, like they did retire, they did step away from the game. If you recall, they retired and they actually switched to Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm, that came out, and I remember VortiX and Luciferon, they joined Team Liquid, and they were on Team Liquid's Heroes of the Storm roster for a time. They competed in that, they were actually really good as well, and then they switched to AoE. They switched to AoE 4, and I know they're playing for, actually I think they even switched to AoE 4. I think when Warcraft 3 Reforged came out, I think they might have competed in that as well. But it just goes to show that Luciferon and VortiX, they're both they're both competitors in whatever esports that does get their attention, not just SC2 but other RTSs, and of course a couple of MOBAs here and there as well. And they're just very talented when it comes to competing and when it comes to thriving in that kind of competitive environment. And they've been going for a long time. Now, if you recall, there was a DreamHack Valencia a couple of years ago. I want to say back in 2018 and a little bit earlier in 2021-ish, 2022. VortiX did actually play in those, specifically the open bracket, because it's local, right? DreamHack Valencia, it's local to him. He's living in Spain, so he actually did play in those open brackets, but that's all he's played in. That's all and again, like, he didn't necessarily go too far in those events either, since he's not really competing. But for the HSL, it has brought together some otherwise retired players, not just VortiX, Special, Bombilla as well, NeO, who had also stepped away, Davito. A lot of players in the region have since kind of stepped away from StarCraft. I mean, There's various reasons for that. We're not going to get into it here, but a lot of the content creators stepped away and stopped streaming, stopped making content, stopped casting as well. Likewise, EPT Latin America was absorbed into EPT NA. That was only a couple of years ago, so less incentive for the players to compete. Likewise, all the weekly tournaments like Sentimiento Latino, Copa Hyperion, as well as La Espida, they again kind of stopped making content for these players as well. So a lot of them did retire. But now that we have the HSL, now they're being brought back in. And because of that, it's kind of hard to judge the skill level of a lot of these players, because in their prime is one thing, but right now they're just now getting back into the swing of things. So it's a little bit different here when it comes to the place or the skill level of the current players, which is why I'm here to find out what exactly that is. How do they compare? How does VortiX compare to some of these more modern players? Or even then, what form is NeO, Ducklings, RyoGin, ShiftClick, what form are they in as well? A lot of these players, they're only coming back just for HSL, so they have only been back competing and laddering and practicing for around a month. So very little time here, We'll see where they are. As we get into this, a big shout out to Luis. Papi, gracias. Thank you so much. For the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. And welcome just in time, Papi. Just in time. We are jumping into this. Just in time. We are jumping into the HSL, the Hispanic StarCraft League. Did you say one of the best non-Korean players of all time? Yes. Yeah, VortiX. Straight up, he was one of the best, if not the best for a time. Of course, this is back in the era of like Naniwa and Scarlet and Stefano as well. VortiX straight up there, one of the best, if not the best for his time. And Stefano as well, of course. And now we are jumping in. We're jumping into our first matchup of the night. As you can see here, we have 5 matches. We have 5 best of 3s. These are going to be best of 3s. It is a round robin group stage. Because there are so many matches, we won't be casting everything. But we're going to be starting things off with NeO versus ShiftClick in a TVP. Here we go. As game 1 is on Abyssal Reef. So we are jumping in. Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Let's go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we have our orange Protoss player, the orange Protoss from land of Spain. It is ShiftClick. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the Peruvian Terran player, the red Terran. It is NeO. NeO, he was once a CranKy Duckling, always a CranKy Duckling, of course, does drop by in the chat from time to time. Currently did actually graduate from law school. I want to say last year did graduate from law school, so now as a lawyer, un abogado. Let's go. So it's great to see. Again, did step away from StarCraft for a long time, recently coming back in for the HSL. And likewise, I'm not too familiar with ShiftClick. I have a long history with NeO, of course. NeO, he's La Tortuga, papi. If you recall, NeO, he is known for mech in every single matchup. Not necessarily for his own volition. If you recall, he used to play on an old laptop, and he would play on like 20 to 30 FPS. Like he just would not have the most powerful setup and the powerful PC to compete in StarCraft. So because of that, would often drop frames, especially in longer games. So he would go for something less micro-intensive. That's one of the reasons why he did embrace mech for a very long time. And I don't know if he's gotten a new laptop since then. So yeah, I'm unfamiliar. I potentially could be branching out into bio. It's possible. If we see mech, then most likely he's still playing. Still on that same laptop. No. Smooch. Meanwhile, ShiftClick back at home, 2-gate. Ooh, 2-gate opener out of our orange Protoss player. Something much more aggressive. I don't typically favor aggressive play here on Abyssal Reef. Abyssal Reef, of course, is one of the largest maps in the map pool. Is the second largest map, only second to Neon Violet Square, but still insanely large. Long rush distance by ground, defendable natural, defendable third base. If we were to play mech, if we were to turtle up, this would be the map to do it on. Assuming that NeO would do that against Protoss. So the double gate opener here is interesting to me. With this, we can try to be hyper aggressive early on. I will say, checking NeO's vision, he did not scout. No SCV scout, no Reaver scout either, reactor first. This is quite greedy, but I do think that it's okay to get it. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say, it's okay to do this on a larger map, but it was a double gas opener, faster factory, no CC into a starport. This is a one base all in. Yeah, straight up 1-1-1 for NeO. I was saying how I don't favor aggression, so I was questioning the 2-gate opener. Likewise, I don't favor aggression. I'm questioning the 1 base all in. God damn it. So NeO, he's doubling down. Now, shift click, he is not outside the bases, so he won't see this coming. He did scout the double gas, so he knows about the faster factory, but that doesn't signify all in. That signifies an aggressive start. That is true, but it doesn't necessarily lead into this. So shift click, he's in the dark, is going for the sentry follow-up. Very important. That sentry does allow for a hallucination, and with that hallucination, he should get a full scout as to what's going on. As the Marine army does move out, runs into the stalkers. 2 stalkers already. Ooh, and 1 Marine will fall. That's big off there by NeO. NeO getting a couple of shots off, but alas, these Marines are going to go down. Shift click, he will clean this up. Likewise, we can see NeO hiding here in the tall grass. Oh, and there's a lock on. He gets 1. He should get 1 of those stalkers, and the other will barely escape, but this is already a tell that something is a little bit wrong behind this building of Marines. More Medivacs, tank production as well into Vikings. Again, 1 base will land a NeO. He may pull the boys with this as well. And shift click, he's still not fully aware. Like, seeing the Cyclone is a little bit of a tell, but there could still be a command center behind this. He hasn't seen any starport units yet. That would have been a tell that it's a 1 base all in. Regardless, safety shield battery. Safety shield battery. He has force fields available because he didn't hallucinate. He will have force fields to block off that ramp. This is also what makes it difficult to go for these all-ins, because that natural is so defendable. NeO boosting forward. He gets spotted. There's hallucination. Yes, that hallucination means no force field. Yeah, no force field here on that sentry. Tanks are within range. Big volley's going off. Oh, Medevac does take a lot of hits though. And the Medevac does go down, forced to scan. And without that Medevac, he has no high ground vision. Thankfully, Viking does arrive. He's going for the Viking. Oh! Ooh, he gets it. The Viking goes down. Viking goes down. Now we need those scans. You're trying to move in. Within range of the shield battery. But the longer this goes on, the better it is for... Oh, the force field, the better it is for shift click. Force fields the Marines in. Shuts them down. And NeO sees nothing. NeO, he sees nothing. He needs a scan, but he also wants the mule. Second tank has arrived. Oh, no high ground vision. He gets 1 tank. He's going to get the other. There's the scan, but NeO, he will lose everything here. The tanks, the Cyclones, the Marines. And with that shift click, he will defend, he will hold, and he will take A1. GG gets called. Shift click, he will take a lead in the series. Whew. GG. GG again, a crazy build here out of NeO, going for the 1 base all in. Again, there's just so much that's working against NeO on these larger maps. On Abyssal Reef, it isn't just the size of the map and how long it takes to get across the map, but also, and how long it is to reinforce as a result, but also, as you saw, because of that ramp coming into the natural, it isn't just a ramp, it's a very narrow choke point as well, so it's so difficult to force your way up that ramp. We saw force fields punishing him, and we saw that the tanks, even though they were within range, they had no vision. He had no vision, he had no way to actually make use of those tanks. Shift click did shut him down. GG. GG, well played. I should also give credit to shift click for specifically targeting down the Medevac and the Viking as well. Because he did target them down, there was no high ground vision. So nice prioritization there from the Protoss. And here we go, we're getting into game number 2 and spawning in the top left hand corner of King's Cove. We have our orange Protoss player from Atlanta, Spain. It is shift click. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the Peruvian Terran player, the red Terran. It is NeO. Here we go. As we're settling into another large map. Welcome one all to King's Cove. King's Cove is the third largest map in the map pool. Second and third, I guess third only to Abyssal Reef and Neon Violet Square as well. So a very large map, a lot of bases, very defendable, just like Abyssal Reef. Also a ramp coming into the natural, and also a very narrow ramp at that as well. So it's not just large, but also very defendable on 2 and 3 bases. Because of that, I'm hoping that we do not one base all in. Double gas. Double gas opener out of NeO. Double gas does lead into a faster factory. This can lead into a one base all in like we saw previously. It shouldn't, but I'm already not too fond of the idea that NeO, he's not opening up economically here. He's not going for an economic opener. So there's going to be a little bit more pressure on NeO to get some damage. Now chasing down the initial probe. Forcing him back. Also, bienvenidos those in the chat. I see Gary in the chat. Kenna Beast as well. Get that. I saw Psychons, Werehogs as well. Soundo. Ga, Papi Ga. Spiral. I hope you're doing well. As for now, there's that factory. Again, shift click he already knew. He already saw the double gas, so he knew that it was going to be a factory follow-up. What's important though, do we go for a command center or a starport? What are we going for? As the probe is shut down. Do see a shift clicker across the map. Once again, 2-gate opener. 2-gate opener out of the probe display. A very safe play. I say safe. I would say aggressive, but I mean safe as well, as it will allow you to have extra units early on. And thankfully, it looks like he will expand. Okay, no one base all in this time. He's going for the CC on the low ground. No starport. We're getting into the mid game. Getting into that mid game, but again, the CC is going to be later than otherwise would like. Both players are expanding. And the question becomes, is NeO going to play mech? No, is he going 3CC? Okay. I just saw the SCV idle. I was like, hold on a minute. Calming down. There's a starport, there's that 111. Reactor on the racks. Tech lab on the factory, so we're not going for a reactor Reaper Hellion. Just 2 Reapers, 1 Hellion moving out. And this can lead into Cyclone drop, this can lead into early tank production. This can lead into a tank drop as well. I'm not too fond of the idea of going for a tank drop on this map, similarly to the previous map as well. Like, the map is just working against the aggressing player. This can lead into Banshees though. That could work. Hellion into the main. Going for the sentry. Oh! Sentry taking a lot of hits, and the sentry is going to go down. And nice pickup. Takes down the sentry and gets the hell out of there. We'll lose a Cyclone, so we'll lose a Hellion. I apologize. As a result, but we'll get out. And, oh, I was concerned it was going to be a tank drop. That's what it is. It's going to be a tank drop here. Oh, never mind. I assumed tank alongside a medevac, but that is another tech lab. Okay. Gonna be really early tank production here out of NeO. With that tech lab, this can lead into Banshee, or can lead into Raven for some Raven harass, something more standard. Keep an eye on NeO. Double Reaper into the main base does confirm the Twilight Council opener. Shift click in position, nicely done. Does surround and will hunt down these Reapers. There's no way out of this. Trying to escape, but will fall. And shift click does defend. Does defend. Behind this, we have a 2-gate setup. We'll see if we throw down extra gateways or a 3rd expansion. Shift click is moving out. I'm going to gain map control. Behind this, Viking first. Okay, is going Viking first here before getting into his either Raven or Raven. Interesting. The shift click does move in. Tank is in position. We get the mass repair on the bunker as well. NeO he will hold, and we do have an extra racks. Okay, it's not going to be mech. We are thankfully getting into bio. So working towards our 3-1-1 setup. You can see the Viking on patrol, looking for any kind of stray War Prism. We can see that the Robo was delayed, so there is no War Prism, just the Stalkers. NeO just being very safe. He's just securing himself. From here, going for an add-on swap. This is going to lead into earlier Stim. Stim is going to be a little bit earlier here for NeO. And once he gets Stim, he can break out. Meanwhile, Shift Click is not yet expanding. He's still staying on 2 bases. He's going for further tech from Blink into Charge. From here, we should be going for a Fast Forge into +1. And we should be expanding and getting a 3rd base. But we'll keep an eye on Shift Click. Oh, getting high ground vision. Blinks in. Takes out the Viking. Viking goes down, going for the tank as well, but alas, there's plenty of support and the tank will survive. Tank will survive, bit of a miss rally. Stalker goes down here at the natural as well. So far NeO, he's holding. I'm concerned for Shift Click just because he is staying on 2 bases for a very long time, going for a Dark Shrine follow-up as well. Okay, this is unorthodox. Just because it's not like we rushed into DTs. Remember, it was Blink first, then Charge, and then Dark Templar. Like, this is much, much later here for Shift Click, and now he takes the 3rd base. I will say that this 3rd base is late for the Protoss, but we'll see if the DTs make up for that. Scan does get the Observer. I spoke too soon. Observer does float away, and NeO will not quite get it. Observer moving back in position. NeO trying to chase that Observer. And scans here are going to be dangerous. As we mentioned, because of the Dark Shrine, if NeO, if he mules at the wrong moment, if he scans at the wrong moment, then DTs can end the game. We've seen it happen at the highest level of play, where DTs waddle in, and that's game. That's GG. It's GG then and there. NeO, he's pushing again because of the early tech lab on the factory and because of the skipped Cyclone. Really high tank count really early on as well. That's 6 tanks. That's insane. So we have 6 tanks gonna be pushing. Stim is already done. Shift Click, he does miss the move out. He misses everything, but he will have a recall. Likewise, Dark Templar, they're waddling in. They're being sent across the map. Shift Click, he will barely miss this. Oh, he sees a medevac. He sees a medevac. Yep, he responds. He responds to the medevac. He does turn around.
Under enemy fire.
3rd base under fire, but the 3rd base does not matter. He has to go for the natural. He has to go for the kill. Back at home, he has been muling. He will soon have 1 scan. He doesn't have it yet, though. Yeah, first DT is going to go down for free. DT goes down. Tanks are a little bit too far behind. Stalkers, they try to come in from behind, but last they cannot quite engage. That's going to be a second DT. This is a second tank falling. Oh, and these DTs, they're wreaking havoc. They're wreaking havoc, killing all the SCVs. More DTs waddling in. Again, the 3rd base is going to go down, but the 3rd does not matter. We have a scan back at home, which means none across the map. Another tank's going to fall. NeO's getting picked apart here. Just those 2 tanks. He's about to lose another. Ooh, massive tank volume is going off. It is down to 3 tanks. Nice Stim, catching out those Stalkers. All the tanks are going to go down now. It's only the Bio. Only the Marines are left. DTs, I mean, they're killing everything across the map. Sims 4 takes down the Robo. Dark Templar warps in to defend. And these DTs are winning a Shift Click this game. Yeah, they shut down the Bio. Across the map, they're still wreaking havoc. Barely any mining. There's 1 turret at the natural. And again, this push had a lot of potential. I mean, we saw that the main army here of Shift Click could not deal with the army, could not deal with the tanks. But the DTs, the Invisible Man. The Invisible Man is just too much. It's just too much here. The Marines are all going down, and NeO back at home still stuck on a 1-base economy. Barely a standing army. Shift Click, he moves out. He won't quite break the natural, not yet, as the boys are being pulled. There's only a handful of Zealots, but the DT's coming in. No, not again. DT comes in. There's a scan. And the last Shift Click is looking quite comfortable here. Shift Click, he is freely mining here from his 2 bases. NeO does have a high worker count, but NeO, he's only on 1 base. Has to transfer back over. Really expensive losses here for NeO. Losing all of his tanks, the medevacs. Now, can NeO recover? We're in a really interesting place. For the one hand, shift click is ahead. He is ahead, he's up a base. Right now, the worker counts are similar. That is only currently true. Shift click, he's making 3 probes at a time. So shift click, he will soon very quickly overpower and overwhelm and surpass the economy of NeO. So there's a lot of pressure on NeO. He moves out, he gets spotted. Shift click, he responds. Because NeO's stuck on 2 bases, he needs to get some kind of damage. And he gets found. He gets found out. There's not, I mean, the medevac is not large enough here for all the units, and it's going to be hunted down. Oof. Which means it's going to be a one-way trip. There's a scan. Despite that, yeah, it bleeds out 1, 2, almost 3 Marauders. Ay, ay, ay. And GG gets called. Yeah, there's no coming back from this. And shift click, he will take game number 2 and take a 2-0 lead. And take the series. GG. GG. Whew. We'll take game 2. Now, as a reminder, this is a best of 3, but we are playing out all 3 maps. All 3 maps are being played. Because it's a round-robin group stage, this is to help to avoid tiebreakers and to, again, kind of distinguish players a little bit more. So all three maps are being played out, but shift click, he will take the series. Will take the series, and game 2 was closer and there was a lot of potential for NeO. Unfortunately, he just didn't know what was going on. Unfortunately, NeO, he didn't scout the main base, he didn't know there were DTs, and straight up, as you saw, the Dark Templar, they won the game. They defended and they attacked. We saw that shift click, he was struggling to defend without those DTs. He lost all of his stalkers. Zelds couldn't quite engage either, but those Dark Templar were able to clean up all the tanks, wreak havoc across the map, deny any reinforcements. GG. GG, well played. And with that shift click, he will take the series, but now we're jumping into that 3rd game. At spawning in the top right hand corner of Amygdala, we have the Spanish Protoss player, the Orange Protoss, leading the series 2-0. We'll see if he can cement himself even further here. It is a shift click. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Peruvian Terran player, the Red Terran. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and make a series out of this and put a point on the board. It is NeO. We go. As we are loading into Amygdala, once again, one of the larger maps. One of the larger maps in the map pool. Again, despite how large these maps have been, NeO, he's been hyper aggressive both in game 1 and in game 2. Game 2, he basically went for a 2-base all-in with 6 tanks. It was insane. Just how tank heavy he was. We'll see what his plan is coming into game 3. We shall see. As NeO does move out. Likewise, a shift click moving in. So we are going for Worker Scouts. I believe this is a SCV Scout for the first time this series for NeO. Like, I don't think he's scouted at all so far. And for the first time this series, shift click going for a Gate Cyber into Nexus. So economic opener out of shift click. He did not do so on Abyssal or on King's Cove, but maybe now that he knows that he's won the series, he's willing to go for something more greedy, or I would say just economic and relatively standard, instead of being overly safe. So do have that faster expansion. Meanwhile, across the map, do you see what I see? I see not just a Rax, I see an economic opener, but a second Rax, and soon to be a third Rax. So it's going to be 3 Rax here for NeO. Once again, it's really aggressive. It's a really aggressive build. This is going to be a stim timing. Basically, 3 Rax stim timing. You go for the reactor, tech lab, into stim, into combat shields. You send it across the map. This is not an all-in, but it is designed to get damage done. If you don't, you can fall behind. And again, doing this on amygdala, it's going to take a little bit longer to get across the map. There's a higher chance to get scattered as well. We'll see if NeO can pull this off. Meanwhile, shift click going for it. No shot. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was a robo opener. It's going Twilight Council into robo. Interesting. Unlike the previous game, this time he will have access to not just observers, but even a war prism if need be. So shift click, he can throw down extra gateways and go for something more aggressive. CV does open up with the observer though. So now we do have that safety sentry. Whether it's with the observer, whether it's with the sentry, shift click, he should be able to get a read on what's going on. Ooh, +1 on the way. And here come those upgrades. We have +1, stim, and soon-to-be combat shields as well. NeO, he did not scout the tech. If he did, he should be going for a concussive shell soon, and going to be incorporating marauders. And he might just blindly do so anyway, just based on the series so far. He might just assume it's going to be, a blink-heavy composition. Meanwhile, we spoke about the gateway explosion. We spoke about the aggression with that war prism. There it is. 3 gates on the way. It's going to be 4-gate blink. It's going to be 2 base, 4-gate blink here. Prism should be coming out, and shift click, he's going to wreak havoc across the map. And NeO's in trouble. NeO, he's going to be in trouble here. How do you defend typically against something like 4-gate blink? Tanks and SimCity. Having that SimCity, having your tank count, because of the 3 racks, 0 tanks to defend. And stim, it's still not quite done. There's no medevacs. Bear that in mind. When you 3 racks, there's no medevacs, so there's no support. Hallucination comes in, and shift click sees everything. And he should be feeling confident to move out with these stalkers and to be assertive, to be aggressive. Oh, that is not a prism. That is a second observer. That is a second robo and a bay. The hell's going on? what the hell's happening? So shift click, he's doing his own thing here. He's teching up very heavily. So despite going up to 4 gates, he's not going to be able to make use of this. Yeah, he's spending his gas not on stalkers, but on a second robo, a bay, colossus, charge, very tech heavy. This tells me that NeO has the opportunity to be active. So I do think that shift click, he could have shut this down completely. Could have shut this down and just overwhelmed and killed NeO. Shift click, instead, he does respond in a kind of a weird way. This is giving NeO some opportunities to be aggressive. We'll see how this goes. I mean, there's still an army, right? There's still a force here for the Protoss. Observer does see this. Shield batteries on the way. And he's looking for the 3rd, but remember, the third is late. The 3rd has been delayed because of the gates and because of the tech. There is no 3rd base. NeO, he pokes in. He's trying to figure out, wait, what's going on? like NeO doesn't know what's happening. He sees the bay, and he should retreat. Seeing the bay is a sign of Colossus, of course. There's a high chance it's going to be a Colossus. There isn't, but NeO, he's crazy right now. He threatens a dive. He should think better of it. The best thing for NeO to do is to go back home. It is to preserve this army, and build up towards a later timing instead. He's getting into his own 3-1-1. I believe never mind. Wait, what? We're getting to a 5-rack setup into a Ghost Academy on 2 bases. Into a delayed 3rd CC. Okay. So we're getting into Ghosts. NeO, I'm still not too confident in him being active like this. Again, he saw the bay. He knows there are Colossus. He does scout the expansion. I'm sure he wants to deny it. Medevacs are on the way. He's reinforcing. Now, when it comes to this fight, it's going to come down to the force fields. If the force fields land, then shift click can annihilate this army. And shift click, remember, he sees everything with the observer. Like, he sees the army. He knows where he is. So shift click, he's paying attention. There we go, does engage, does force field, and he will slice this army up. Marines, Marauders get caught. Nice start for shift click. Very nice start. And he's safely getting his 3rd. His 3rd base is getting up. double forge now on the way. Shift click building up more Colossus. Now again, he still has retained most of his army. He's got his first ghost. He can EMP. But pushing into 3 Colossus, I don't think he can. He does rotate, does catch the army move commanding. Does pick a unit off. Oh, nice EMP. Solid connection. Yeah, without any force fields, he can push in. Oh, the spikes are brutal. Yeah, and you can see the Colossus just raining down on the Bio. The Bio melts completely. Nice. Well, very nice with the mines. Takes out most of those sentries. But again, the soup does lie. Even though NeO, he does have the larger army supply here, Shift Click has 3 Colossus. And that does count for a lot. There's Colossus, got his shield batteries. Prism gets seen, gets scouted. NeO, he rotates. Does rotate over. Oh. Financial tower going up. Pulls away. He's still spotted by the observer. 4th base in production here for Shift Click. Shift Click, he is keeping up. Oh my god. NeO, he just cannot fight this army head on. It's not gonna happen. Medivacs and Ghost going down. NeO's got he has to get the hell out of here. Oof. Yeah, we'll bleed out all of his ghosts. Medivacs as well. And NeO is in trouble. We have the surround. Oh, we have the surround with the prism. NeO, he's pulling away. And I don't know if Shift Click can be stopped, so I'll be honest. He's made his way across the map, and we have some Widow Mines here. We have a couple of Ghost for EMPs. The Mine Shots do not connect. Oh. So we are pushing in. I'm disconnected from BNet, I guess. Why am I disconnected from BNet? Regardless. Yo, Blizzard trying to save me. Save me from the Colossus. Save NeO, papi. Save NeO. As we have Zelarama here into the mineral line. Shift Click moving forward. And he cannot save the 3rd. He's just thrown away. He's just contained on 2 bases. Nice EMP on the Colossus. He's building up his Vikings. Colossus are low. There's not enough support, and NeO, he will hold. Ooh, he will not just hold, he will clean up every single Colossus. Not bad. Takes down all 3 Colossi. Shift Click did overextend. Basically, because because his Zealots were harassing, they weren't there to support the army. They weren't there to protect those Colossi. So Shift Click does overextend. NeO, he's holding on. Behind this, what do we have? We have Storm. Storm is on the way, likewise making 2 Colossus at a time on 4 bases. NeO, he is heavily behind in the economy. And he needs to move out. He needs to be active. He reset the Colossus. He has to take advantage of that. If he doesn't, Shift Click will just recover. And at this point, he already has. You can see how quickly here the Colossus do come in to reinforce. He's already got 2. So back up to 2 Colossus. DTs, they go for the natural. Going for the turret. Turret goes down. NeO, he just muled. He did just mule. And SCVs are going to be falling. Shift Click, he doesn't have to break him here. He's just distracting. Distracting for what? Distracting for the DTs. DTs, they kill everything. SCVs are going down. Production as well. There's the scan. Do we have another? We do. We do. Barely have 1. There's 1 more scan. But there's no army. Yeah, there's nothing here. The production's being camped. NeO's all in. NeO, he's completely all in. It's all or nothing for the Terran. Does attempt to EMP, doesn't quite connect. Yeah, there's a shield battery overcharge, or the NG overcharge I should say, and GG gets called, and Shift Click, he will take the series 3-0, will take down NeO, and hey, take his first match. GG. GG. Whew. GG, well played. A very, very quirky final game, I will say. Game 1 and Game 2, I'm not really too fond of how aggressive NeO was being. I mean, the entire series, like, Game 1, it was a 1-base all-in on Abyssal Reef. Game 2 was a 2-base all-in on King's Cove. Game 3 was a 3-racks on Amygdala. It's like hyper-aggressive builds on just really large maps, and it isn't, again, just to re-emphasize, it isn't just that it takes longer to reinforce, but because it's so much larger, there's a higher chance that you get scouted. There's a higher chance you get scouted, a higher chance that your opponents can respond to what you're doing, and Shift Click, he did respond well. To the aggression, and Shift Click, he came out on top. GG, very well done, very well played. We'll take the 3-0 here, and we'll see how he continues, as up next we're going to be following Shift Click into VortiX. Let's go. Oh, thank you so much, Spaguts. Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, hold on, I have to get back into this. For some reason I disconnected from BattleNet. With that, GG, well played. Shift Click does take the 3-0, and we're going to be following Shift Click into his next series, and I am excited here. Here we go. Up next, casting for the first time in a long time. He's been retired for so many years. Actually, let me just double check. When did he retire? VortiX, Liquipedia. Not to be confused with VorTX. Different player. VortiX, he retired back in 2016. Again, as we mentioned, start of Legacy of the Void is when he retired. It has been almost 10 years. It's been 9 years since his retirement, and he's back. He's here playing in HSL, and how does he compare now? What form is he in? How does he look like against all these other players in the group? And how will he look if he does make it to the playoffs? Let's go. Again, VortiX has a legacy behind him. I would say that, I mean, he might be the favorite player in this group. I don't know. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know how he looks. I don't know what form he is, what form he's in. We'll find out. We will find out as spawning in the top right-hand corner of Frostline, we have our blue Zerg player from the land of Spain. It is VortiX. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss, also from land of Spain. It is Shift Click. Let's go. Let us go. What does that get us? For a moment, I thought it was talking about Akedon. So VortiX, he told him that he has a bad composition. I assume Akeros is in reference to something. But Shift Click, he's saying, oh, I need to watch more of your tutorial videos. And VortiX is saying, oh, I guarantee you'll win. Guaranteed. Let's go. Is this like an AoE 4 reference, maybe? No shot. Does VortiX make videos? Checking. Yeah, he's an AoE 4 player. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll be honest, I think that they're talking about a build and a composition in AoE 4. that would make the most sense in my mind. Hold on, I'm checking. VortiX, yeah, he does make videos. Oh, let's go. And he does make AoE 4 videos. Okay, makes sense. Oh god. What happened to his hair? He's bald now. He shaved his head. The VortiX. Well, the more you know. The more you know. Okay, we're settling in. But yeah, I was mentioning before that VortiX nowadays, he is an AoE 4 competitor, and he's actually quite good at it, of course. He used to compete in SE2 back in the day, and now he is back. He is back here. He's back in SE2 for the HSL. Much love to VortiX. Much love. As we have a standard opener, Hatch Gas pull into a third base. So far, so good. Likewise, Shift Click back at home, going for a 2-gate opener. Interesting. Does wall up, does wall off. Lings poke in, and the Zealot should come out in time to defend. Yeah, Zealot is out. Shift Click does hold. Also, because he's talking about AoE 4, he's saying Conqueror guaranteed. I'm assuming Conqueror is like GM in AoE. That would make sense in my mind. You got a grandkid? He's not that old. Like VortiX, he's like, what, in his 30s? Yeah, he's 31. He's 31. He's like Bjorn's age. If not younger. Now VortiX dipping into the main. Does dip in. We have a take control. It's going to be a Twilight Counter opener. Hyper aggression here from Shift Click. And he's going to be scouted. He's going to be scouted here. Ideally, you do want to open up Stalker, not Adept, to deny the scout. So VortiX, he will see everything in the main. And likewise here at the natural, it's going to be a DT opener. Now VortiX, he does see the research. Shift Click trying to fake out an upgrade. Stalker can now focus down that Overlord. VortiX, he hasn't seen the Dark Shrine. Back at home, going for a safe opener. He's throwing down his Roach Horn, taking his gases, somewhat droning. And we'll see if VortiX does get safety spores. Shift Click does get one drone. Lings. Oh no, there's no shield battery. No shield battery, no reroll either. Lings, they flood in. They get a full scout on the Dark Shrine. They could even get us around. But now just going for the mineral line. Yeah, just going for the probes. GG gets called, and VortiX, he will take game number 1. GG. God damn it. GG, well played. It does break through, does take the game. Nice start to the series here. I mean, what I will say is that VortiX, the openers haven't really changed. They haven't really changed throughout the years for Zerg, like Hatch Gas Pool. Like, sure, nowadays there's a bit of different timing just because of the price and the cost of hatcheries and queens. But for the most part, Hatch Gas Pool standard opener has been the same for a very long time. And yeah, VortiX able to scout, able to confirm, and unfortunately, no re-wall, no shield battery. The wall was open. GG. GG, well played, and that's going to lead us here into game number 2, and we'll see if Shift Click can actually get into his opener and get into his build. And spawning in the top right hand corner of ley lines, we have our Spanish Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, the legend himself. It has been years since he's competed. He retired back in 2016, and now is an AoE 4 competitor. The Muslim, is that you? Oh, going for a 12 pool. Okay, he's got some openers, he's got some builds. It is VortiX. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Orange Protoss player, the Orange Protoss himself, also from land of Spain, down in the series. It is Shift Click. Leyenda. He's back? Sí, he's back. He's returned to us. Regresado. Let's go. He's back at least for HSL, at least for the Hispanic StarCraft League. Any good games last night in the Picosaurus Cup you'd recommend rewatching? I would recommend Geralt versus Bjorn. Geralt and Bjorn, they did play in the semifinals. I think I would say that was the best series actually of the broadcast. So Geralt versus Bjorn, I do recommend it. He saw the 12 pool. He's like, mate, you're a dog. ... VortiX, he is going to be moving out with his Lings, of course. Remember, 12 pool into early Ling aggression. My trademark. Let's go. And back at home, we respond with a Forge. Okay, Forge cannons here. Zelda's being chronoed as we speak. Lings are moving out. And shift click, he does fully wall off. Scouting is no match. How dare he scout? How dare he? But this response is really weird. This is a really dedicated response. We'll get into it. Lings, they poke in, they get on top of the pylon. Pylon should be going down. Ooh, as the pylon finished, that should not have happened. So one dead pylon, already nice value here for VortiX. Back at home, he's droning. Back at home, he's droning up. Now going for the Zealot. Zealot also under fire. No second Zealot! Ay, there's no second Zealot. First one does go down. The cannon is surrounded. And this may just be game. To be honest, this may just be game. There is no second Zealot. The cannon will fall. We're going for the Artosis Pylon. There's a backup cannon on the way. And that pylon is going to go down as well. Then he can just go for the cannon. Like, there's just not enough here. And again, this response was lackluster. Now we're chronoing out a Zealot. But this Zealot is heavily delayed. And with that, VortiX is breaking through, busting down that front door, takes down the cannon. That's a kill, not a cancel. And this is critical damage already. Oh no, the surround! No! He surrounds the Zealot. Zealot's gonna go down as well. There is another Zealot on the way, and that will help eventually, but behind this, we're just droning. VortiX is just droning up, taking his gases, saturating. Has to be covered not to be surrounded. Oh. Guess I'll take care. VortiX looking for another probe. Looking for another worker. Doesn't quite get one. He wants another. He's gonna get another surround. Gets another surround. Ay. Pulls away with the weakened Ling. And he will kill another Zealot. And there's no expansion. The problem here, there's no expansion. There's no natural. It's 2-gate double adept. Shift click can potentially get some damage done across the map, but he is so far behind. So far behind here. Now, winding it back to the response into the opener, going for a Forge cannon response is really weird because 12 pulls aren't all in. 12 pulls, they're aggressive, that is true, but you typically drone up behind it and you expand and you get into a longer game state. Shift click, he did he see? I think now he sees the gases, of course, but he should have taken note of the gases as well. How do you respond to this? By getting a second gateway, by making Zealots, by getting that, not just the first Zealot, the second Zealot as quickly as possible, having the probe to having a couple of workers to protect that Zealot, so you pull like 3-4 probes and you can use those probes to like hold position micro and to support the Zealot to make sure it doesn't get surrounded, and then once you get your 2 Zealots out, you're safe. Like once you get 2 Zealots at the same time, you're safe and sound. Then you can expand, get into a depths, and then counterattack. So this response out of shift click feels really unrehearsed. Like it doesn't feel very just a little bit unrehearsed here, and a bit of an overreaction as well. And alas, he got shut down. With that, we're going for the cannon rush in the main. I appreciate it, but alas, VortiX will clean this up. He will clean up the cannon rush, clean up the proxy. Behind this, VortiX going into link speed, and shift click has still not expanded. It's still stuck at home. VortiX from here can just saturate. He can just saturate, get it to 3 bases, and start taking gases and taking up. But he is moving out with extra lings. He can potentially get some damage here. He can maybe get a gateway. There aren't that many lings. Okay, he backs off. Does back off. And from here, we have a lot of catching up to do. I would say that shift click, he's going to be reliant on maybe VortiX making some mistakes. What I'm referring to is if we go like Twilight Council into Dark Shrine, if there's no spores, then maybe damage can be done, but there's a lair on the way, so there should be an Overseer regardless. 2 base all-in would be the best bet for shift click at this point, and even then, like it is looking quite dire for him. Like he's very far behind, but trying to macro out of this into like a 3rd base into a longer game, that shouldn't be possible. Not with this much of a deficit. So hoping that your opponent is too greedy, hoping that VortiX over drones and delays and cuts unit production and is too tech heavy and is too greedy, that's kind of what you're hoping for when you shift click. Like you're hoping that your opponent does make those mistakes. And then you can just go for the Hail Mary play. And those mistakes do happen. They do happen, and we just mentioned how VortiX, he's been retired for 9 years, so so not the most. I mean, he's experienced, that is true, but currently not the most practiced. Yeah, that's maybe a better way of putting it. Currently not the most practiced player, so I mean, it's possible. Speaking of DTs, there we go. Dark Shrine is on the way, but at this point, there is the lair. There is detection. We can see VortiX, he's parked outside of each expansion, parked at each base. Fourth base on the way, getting to Roach Hydra, +1 range, and settling in. Probe and a Zealot was enough. A couple of probes. Like, you typically pull like maybe 3, maybe 4 at most, but like 3-ish probes just to help protect the Zealots. And just to buy time, and then you can just go back to mining, right? Referring to the early, like, 12 pool defense. Go back to mining, get, like, a second Zealot. The Forge response did hurt shift-click quite a bit. And VortiX is taking up into Lurkers. Okay, we have the Lurker dead on the way. Building up Roach Hydra. A bit of a more old-school composition, but I appreciate it. It's still viable. It's very gas-intensive, but getting there. Building up Roach Hydra into Lair Tech Lunkers. Let's go. No Infestation Bit, no Hive Tech. There we go. Just now being thrown down. And shift-click is slowly expanding and getting a third. Now, VortiX, he could just leave this alone and just tech into Hive and tech into Lurkers, but he does have the opportunity to break this position, to attack from multiple angles, to break the third base. Lings, they slip in, they do not get a very nice warp in. Force Fields is what he locks down the Lings. Unfortunately, the third base goes down. Like, it's like really clean defense here when it comes to the warp in, when it comes to the Force Fields, but alas, the third base goes down, and this is just a supply issue, is the problem. Like, because he's so far behind, the army supply just isn't really there to do both at the same time, and to successfully defend both the natural and the third, just because of the size of the army. With that, going for the Dark Templar. VortiX building up his Lurkers. Maybe shift-click was afraid that VortiX would also pull the boys with it. That's why you have a probe, because the probe balls off. Like, that's why you have a probe with your Zealot defense, because it doesn't just protect the Zealot from getting surrounded, but also allows you to fully wall off the natural if need be. Oh, as the army is getting called out. Likewise, DTs, they do hit the expansions, but there is static defense. Roaches do get surrounded, but here comes VortiX. VortiX, he doesn't care. He commits across the map. He has detection. He has the Lurkers. Does move in between the bases. Shift-click does hit the third. And he is getting some damage done, but it pales in comparison to this. Like, this is an army that just cannot be stopped. As again, there is zero detection. The Lunkers, they're safe. Zealots, they dive into the natural. DTs, they were cleaned up. And back at home, yeah, there's just nothing to defend. There's the one Dark Templar. It's a bit of copium here, but GG, GG gets called. And VortiX will take the series and will take a 2-0 lead. GG. GG, well played. He will claim the series, but as a reminder, yes, these are best of threes, but we will cast and we have played out all 3 matches. All 3 matches are played out, regardless of scoreline. So they do have one more game ahead of them. We'll see if shift-click can put a point on the board and, you know, make a series out of it and have a 2-1 scoreline, or if VortiX will secure himself. We'll see. As we're leading into Whispers of Gold. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the Spanish Zerg player, the Blue Zerg. leading the series 2-0. I mean, claiming the series. We'll see if he can secure himself, though, and take the 3-0 from land of Spain. It is VortiX. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the orange Protoss player, also from land of Spain. Clearly a fan of his opponent. We'll see if he can recover. It is Shift Click. He's like, how could you? How could you? Ah. Smurge. No. And alas, this time, no 12 pull. Thankfully, no 12 pull here. Shift Click does dive in, does scout, does confirm, and will confirm the fact that it is hatch first. Hatch first, no 12 pull. Okay, we're calming down. We're okay. We're okay. Also, they're making references that I don't understand. I don't know if this is like more references to AoE 4. I don't... Smurge. Like, I don't know what Mealgoy Lataki refers to. Not too sure. But it's all good. We're settling in. Settling in so far. Hatch gas pool. Hatch gas pool here from VortiX. Likewise across the map. Shift Click going for a standard opener. Gate expanded to Cybercore. So we're calming down. Standard opener this time. No crazy like forge response or cannons. Based on the pylon location, this does look like a Twilight Council. Usually if you go for a Stargate opener, you want to throw down the pylon closer to the edge of your main, because one, it scouts of course, but two, it does mean that the Oracle gets across the map faster. With a pylon further back, technically this could be like a Stargate opener into Void Ray, but most likely going to be a Twilight Council here, I'm assuming. As we're more concerned with hiding the tech more than anything. Overlord does park itself here at the natural. This time we do chrono out the Stalker. Stalker first also does signify a Twilight Council, because the Stalker is designed to hunt down and to contain and to deny the scouts from this Overlord. So the Stalker is going to be a bit of a gatekeeper here for the Overlord to make sure that VortiX is pinned back. The downside is that there's no Adept Harass. It means that right now the Adept is late. It's a delayed Adept after the Stalker. So VortiX is free to drone. Free to just drone up, to saturate. He can skip links early on. He has a couple just to be active. And there is that Twilight Council. Now the question becomes, what kind of opener? Do we open up Dark Shrine? Do we open up with instead Glaive Adepts? Here we go. So now he's staying in gas. The sign here, or I should say, he does take a third gas geyser as well. Okay, Robo on the way. This feels like Glaive Adept, so we'll see if we throw down the Dark Shrine. Oh, as Probe does move in position. Robo's already on the way. And there it is, Dark Shrine. So DT's here for the Protoss. Overlord attempts to scout, but again, that Stalker is going to hunt it down. Ooh, Lingzay do slip in. The wall was open. Lingzay slip in, and VortiX, he gets a full scout of the main base. He does confirm the Twilight Council and the Dark Shrine. Ay. It's still open. Bobby. Hero. Oh my god. See, this is what happens when you watch too much Hero, Bobby. You want to play like your heroes, and this is what then the wall is open. The wall is open, Lingzay flood in. It isn't about the damage that's being done, it's about the scouting. So because of this, VortiX back at home, he should respond. Roach Warren's on the way, Spore Crawler's on the way as well. VortiX, he should be okay against this. As Shift Click, he does re-wall, thankfully. Oh. Likewise, dipping back in. To have that gateway explosion, going to be a 3-gate setup in total, should be getting up to 4. Overlord even just rescouts, just reconfirms. I mean, this rescout also gets eyes on, I was going to say the lack of charge or lack of upgrade, but charge does begin once the Overlord goes down. And this is looking more and more like a 2-base all-in. Typically, a DT opener is more macro-based, where you go DTs and then you can get a third base and go for Archon drops, but based on charge, this feels like we're committing even harder here. It does feel like the plan is not to expand and not to take a third. Prism moves out, VortiX, he has his detection, Roaches are amassing, Lair is done as well, going for the Overseer, he has plenty of detection. And it might be wise for shift click just to initially warp in the Archons ahead of time. But he's going for the initial harass. He runs into the army. Thankfully does pull away. Whew. Does save that Arch Templar. And this is why DT openers are so versatile, because even though the initial DTs don't do any damage, you can always morph in Archons. You can always morph in Archons and start hunting down Overlords, denying creep, threatening mineral lines. Like, there are layers here to a DT opener. So you can still gain value. Meanwhile, behind this, there is a third base. Lings, they do confirm this. They're here to delay. Charge is almost done. And soon Shiftclick can reinforce with Zealots. As he will deny creep. Oh. Will attempt to. Prism taking a lot of hits. Has to pull away. Observer goes down. And I'm waiting to see a gateway explosion. I'm waiting to see extra gateways or saturation. Arc into the main. Once again being annoying. Going for the Overseer, not bad. Overseer goes down, supply blocks VortiX. That's 8 Overlords on Jesus. 8 Overlords on the way. And there is no gateway explosion. Yeah, no gateway explosion, so I assumed it was going to be a 2-base all-in with charge, but we can see that Shift-Click doesn't do anything with charge. There is no investment into Zealots. We're warping in Stalkers, which makes me believe charge may have meant to be Blink. If we're reinforcing with Stalkers, there is no Blink, Bappy. We have charge. We might have gotten the wrong one. I hope that isn't the case, but it feels to be. As we have made 0 Zealots. So, a little bit concerned. Archons, they drop into the main. Once again, getting a drone. Not bad. Getting a couple of workers. 2, 3 drones going down. At the same time, VortiX, he just knocks down that expansion. Stalkers, they can try to engage. I mean, there is that Immortal, true. But the base is going to fall. Massive pickup. Nexus goes down. Nexus does fall. Now, what I find interesting here is that Shift-Click, he hasn't been making probes. Usually, you would be oversaturating your natural to Maynard, right? To Maynard over towards your expansion. But he has been skipping probe production for a long time. Not making any workers. He moves out. Remember, he has no blink. Oh, the Overlords, though. Oh. Does find them. Does find them. Gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. VortiX coming in for the surround. Forcing the recall. Can he get the Immortal? Barely can. Massive pickoff. Meanwhile, Archon's back into the main. Wreaking havoc. Hunting down the Queen. VortiX getting into Roach Hydra. Once again, very similar to Game 2. And unfortunately, Shift-Click, he's just being outscaled. He's just been outscaled at this point. He didn't 2-base all in, but he also never established his 3rd base, never saturated. So he just cannot keep up. And VortiX, he will start to step forward. He will start to step in, take down the Stalkers, take down the Immortal. And there's nothing left. There's nothing left. Nothing here. GG gets called, and VortiX will take the 3-0. Will take down Shift-Click. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, VortiX with a solid performance here. I will say that we didn't really get to see too much of VortiX. It did feel like a lot of these games were almost decided early on. They were a little bit faster. Sure, we saw VortiX get up to 3 and even 4 bases at time, but we didn't really get to experience much back and forth mid-game with VortiX. Not yet, not yet. And that's what I'm really hungry for. Again, VortiX has been going for a really long time. I want to see how he does look in a longer later game and how he compares to some of these other players. Here, so far, a really strong start out of VortiX. And we'll see if that continues throughout the group. We will see. As we are getting ready for our next matchup. Here we go. Okay. Whew. Some of the other heavy hitters are going to be coming out from Latino America here. VortiX takes on his countryman in his EVP, but now he's up against a Peruvian Terran. Up next is going to be Ducklings. Let's go. Ducklings versus VortiX in a ZVT. Beautiful, beautiful. Ducklings, one of these other players that honestly has been gone for a really long time. I want to actually look this up here. I'm probably going to do this for all the players, or most of them. When it comes to checking to see, oh, never mind. When they last competed in tournaments and then when they were last active. But again, Ducklings, it's been a long time. It's been a very long time since he has been an active player. So I'm excited to see how he looks at the moment, how he compares. Of course, back in the day, he was on New Angels, he was on Team Super. Let's go. Let's jump in. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't casted the Ducklings in years. Let's double check that actually. Hold on. We have the technology. When was the last time I casted the Ducklings? Jeez. 2021. It's been 4 years. 2021 here. It was Batallas Americas number 43. Fun fact, last time I casted Ducklings, I casted him against NeO, who, fun facts, quickly just switching our scenes over just so you can see the matches. NeO is also in this group. NeO, he's also in this group, and he was the last player that I casted Ducklings against in that TBT. So it's been years. It's been years since I've casted Ducklings in a proper 1v1. I will say that I did cast Ducklings against Honmono at the start of the year for the StarCraft Evolution show match. If you remember, there was a like a Comunidad versus Honmono series, which was Honmono versus a bunch of Latin American players. He was against RyoGin, Ducklings. I want to say he was up against Luciano as well. He was up against all of them in a fun kind of like show match StarCraft Evolution series. So I did cast him in that show match, but before that, at the start of the year 2021. It's been a long time. Been a very long time. So once again, for a lot of these guys, it's like, what are they looking like right now? You know, are they in peak condition? Are they getting there? Are they just playing this, you know, without much practice? We'll see. As we are jumping into game number 1. Wait, VortiX? I thought he was full on AoE 4. Yes, he's currently an AoE 4 competitor and an AoE 4 content creator. VortiX, he has not competed in StarCraft in a very long time. He retired back in 2016, but he did return like many others for this event. You know, Special is back, VortiX is back, Cham has returned, and a bunch of these other players as well, like this player here. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Frostline, we have our teal Terran player from land of Peru, the Peruvian Terran. It is Ducklings. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss from land of Spain. Blue Zerg player from land of Spain. Again, the legend himself going for a 14 pool. It is VortiX. Going pool first. So pool first opener here out of VortiX. Interesting. Again, this is going to be our first ZVT that we're covering from our Zerg player, and I'm curious how he plays this out. This can lead into an early aggression, into early tech, but it is going to be pool first into a hatchery. Meanwhile, again, I have not casted Ducklings in many years, so I don't really know if he's really one to embrace mech too often. In my memory, he is more of a bio player, but again, it's been a long time. You know, now that he's an old man, I might be playing mech nowadays. I don't know. Here we go. You also want a Age of Empires mythology for money. I mean, I would say this is less of a money thing and more of like do I say nostalgia? Basically, a bunch of the, to reiterate once again, a bunch of the content creators from Latin America and from Spain, they reached out. They reached out to a bunch of the retired players, you know, they got them interested. As I said before, like, this is a bit of a, almost a nostalgia trip kind of resurgence tournaments, getting back all these old Latin American and Spanish players, which is really cool. And what I'm excited by is I'm pretty sure Season 2 is confirmed, so I'm excited to see these players continue to compete and continue to perform. Kind of going into like the return of some of these players, I think a good example of that is Special. He hasn't played in a tournament properly outside of like 2v2s and stuff like that since last year EWC back in like June, July. But because Special is now playing in this, he did play in this week's Pigastar Monday. He played in this week's Open NA Cup, which he again hasn't done just in a long time. So once again, I would actually attribute that to HSL. I would say that HSL brought him back to like playing again, and now that he's playing HSL, he's like, oh hey, may as well play in the Open Cups, you know. And I'm curious to see if that happens with VortiX as well, for example. Like, if we see VortiX sign up for like an Open Cup, like an EU Open Cup, then it's like, oh okay, like now he's interested again, now he's playing again. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. It happened to Special, we'll see if it happens to VortiX. For now though, we do have our opener. It is going to be a CC on the high ground, so Rax expand on that high ground, going for his 1-1-1. Very safe opener here out of Ducklings. He did scout earlier. He did see how... I believe he did see the earlier spawning pool. Lings that it get no damage done, and we're settling it. So far, good response here by Ducklings, as we are going to be building up on our two bases. Meanwhile, insanely far. Oh, he didn't pull out. He did not pull out a gas. My apologies. Didn't notice. Didn't pull out a gas. Going for a second gas. Guys are rushing into an insanely fast lair. This is what a 320 lair timing. Ay, ay, ay. Now, with a fast lair like this could be a couple of different things. This could be for roach play. This could be two-base muta. Like, that's the first thing in my mind. If we take more gases, the Reaper does scout. Does confirm. Big scout here for the Ducklings. He does confirm the lair timing. He knows that this is weird, this is wrong, this is not meant to be a thing. Opening up Viking into Banshee. Very safe opener here. Vikings should be hunting down these overlords. If this was going to be like a Nidus all-in, then this overlord should be hunted down. But what do we see? More gases. Should be muta play. Should be Aspire. If these gases weren't taken, then we can, you know, theorize something like a Link Queen Nidus all-in. But you don't need 4 gases for that build. Hellions, they do rush past. They rush by the queens into the mineral lines. Drone's gonna get roasted. Nice around one of the Hellions. One Hellion does get surrounded. 5 drone kills so far. Can we get more? Not quite. He's gonna be zoned away. Lings, they trickle in just in time. This was a good dive, but didn't get the damage he was hoping for. That's 4 Hellions for 5 drones, and here comes that Spire. Spire is on the way. Meanwhile, it is going to be mech. Ooh. Oh, God. Now I'm a little bit concerned. Here for Ducklings. I mean, he does know about the lair timing, so he knows that mutas are a big possibility. My concern here, that this isn't bio, is that anti-air is very limited. I mean, Hellions don't shoot up. Banshees don't shoot up. I'm hoping this isn't like traditional mech into like Hellion tank. If this is Cyclone, then he can hold his own. But the Cyclones are going to be required to survive. Flush Transfuse. Keeps you alive. Hellions, they do pipe past the Queens, going for the mineral line once again. They dive in, they scout the Spire. Now he has confirmation. Link's coming from behind. A nice position here on the ramp. Yeah, Link's to get roasted. So very efficient trades here from Ducklings, but he needs to get into that mineral line. And he will be able to. It does bust in, Void's being pulled. Ducklings, who will minimize losses, still going to be 9 drone kills, not bad. And 10 drones go down. Viking gets 2 overlords. So very nice damage here from Ducklings. Now, first things first, he has dealt some good economic damage. True, he has scouted what's going on. Also true. Is he ready? The question is he ready for the mutas as he's throwing down a ring of turrets? And there's no anti-air. There's one Viking. There's one Viking right now. Tech labs are on there. We need those Cyclones. We need Cyclones as soon as possible, as mutas are amassing. Turrets, they will finish in time. And for the time being, Draconics, he's relying on those turrets. As we need those cyclones. Mutas are building up. He's making more. He's crazy. He's getting blue flame. Making more Hellions, mate. He's got so much faith in those turrets. So much faith. Viking goes down. I mean, they are going to be able to protect his bases, I suppose. Mate. He's great. I mean, it works. It works. Bappy. He had faith in the towers and it paid off. Hellions are diving to the mineral line. They get lings. Mate, what a Giga Chad. Look at this guy. He scouts 2-base Muta and he refuses. He's like, you think I'm going to make anything that shoots up? No. I'm going to make Hellion tank, mate. He's crazy. Let's go. Thor is on the way. Who needs Cyclones? Who needs them? Who needs them, Pappy? True, true. Just make turrets. Now, this is a pretty hefty amount of mutas. It's going to be 9 mutas here for VortiX. Alas, the turrets are close enough. I mean, hey, there's 4 turrets here at the natural. VortiX, he gets scared. Not confident enough. Does back off. Doesn't go in. Ah, the aura that Draconics is exuding right now. Like, it's like, mate, aren't you gonna respect the mutas? He's like, no. I didn't care. What are the mutas gonna do? They're just gonna let the drones die. True, as more drones are going down, the blue flame Hellions, hey, they're paying off. They roast up the mineral line. He gets 8 worker kills, gets 9. No fear. And now he's making Thors, and soon he's gonna push. Like, those Thors are gonna be terrifying. As 9 more workers fall, VortiX struggling here economically. He's like, why are you still making? Why are you not respecting my mutas? Respect the mutas. Like, no, mate, no, I don't care. Maybe you should though, as 1 turret should not be enough. Yes, SB's gonna be going down. Nice rats here with the mutas. Takes down the turrets, but the Thor is here. And mutas, they have to respect the Thor. 1 Thor will zone away. Meanwhile, +1 air attack, still going mass muta. I believe bailing speed was researched, but there's no upgrades. What I mean by that is there's no Evo chambers, as all the gas is being spent on mass muta. And the reality is, if VortiX, if he missteps, if he miscontrols, then all it takes is a couple of Thor volleys, and that muta cloud is going to evaporate. Hellions, once again, they dive in. This time, less successful. Gee, that's a lot of mutas. So here we go. VortiX moving out. VortiX diving in. Again, pushing into Thors and turrets. He does spread out his mutas decently well. Gets 1. Takes out 1 of the Thors. Takes down the other. There's 1 Thor left, but the turrets, they put in a lot of work. And so far they get 10 mutas, but there's only 1 Thor left. And maybe we should have respected the mutas a little bit more here. Yeah, the Thors do 4 turrets as well, and VortiX, he breaks through. He breaks through the siege line, gets into the SEVs. Behind this, no more anti-air. There is no more anti-air. Too many tanks, not enough Thors. GG gets called. Whew. And VortiX, he will take game number 1. Also, Draconics, you're an animal. That was crazy. GG, well played. I mean, Draconics, he almost got away with it. It was really impressive. It was crazy impressive to see how long he got away with just skipping anti-air, and he was establishing his 3rd base. But as we saw, again, barely didn't have enough there to deal with it. Honestly, I feel like he might have been able to hold if he had pre-pulled, sorry, not pre-pulled the boys, if he had pulled the boys. If he had pulled the boys when the first Thor went down with repairs, then maybe he defends anyway. But this was so greedy. This was like such a that's maybe the best way of putting it. Just a really greedy response there by Draconics, just defending with the bare minimum against a player going mass muta. And it almost worked, to be fair. Did almost work. It was crazy. GG, well played. VortiX does take a lead in the series. Does take a lead, and with that, we're getting into game number 2. So far, that's the highlight of the night for me. that was great. I followed up with the season. I was there that I hit the analysis. They fulfilled their funding objectives for the tournament faster than they thought. Yes. Again, it was the content creators that made the events, but it was crowdfunded by the community, by the followers or by the audiences of all said content creators. You know, by Bond, by Protocito, by Enki, by the Novak. So this is a kind of a community initiative, I should say, which is really cool to see. And here we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Wisps of Gold, we have the teal Terran player, the Peruvian Terran. Again, being so greedy last game and almost got away with it as well. It is Ducklings. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player, the blue Zerg himself. Oh, from land of Spain, the returning legend. It is VortiX. Seems like he didn't expect the full commitment to mutas. Kind of. Like, the one thing against that is that if you remember, because of his Hellion run-bys, he was scouting and he was confirming that there was no other tech. There was no roaches, I should say, there was no roach warren, there were no evo chambers, and I believe he did see the researching spire in the natural as well. So based on the harassment, based on the scouting he was getting because of the harassment, he should have been aware that it was mass muta. So I don't think it was about him not recognizing that was happening. He probably just was maybe overconfident. Like, he had a ring of turrets, he had some Thors, just barely not enough. Again, it just felt very greedy. Just felt very greedy, and again, it was on the knife's edge, I would say. Like, if he had like one more Thor or a little bit more support. But yeah, he did not respect those mutas. Not at all. From here, we're getting into game number 2. And we'll see if he goes into mech again, right? We'll see if he goes into mech again, into bio. As I mentioned before, I haven't casted Ducklings in 4 years, so I don't know if his style has changed over time. I don't know what he's looking like, so we'll see. We shall see. As for now, ranks expand, CC on the low ground this time. As a reminder, last game was a CC on the high ground, but I believe that was also a response to the pool first. This time it is hatch gas pool standard opener out of VortiX, and the Ducklings likewise going for a standard opener as well. Reaper dips in. Does pull away. And we'll see if we do have another fast lair. As a reminder, last game it was a 320 lair timing from VortiX. Here he's staying in gas. Yeah, it should be mutas again. He's staying in gas. It looks like the same build. Looks like the same build so far. You do not stay in gas like this unless you intend to use it. And it should be for the fast lair. Yep, 3-minute lair timing. Whew. 3-minute lair, right into the gas. Reaper dives in. Draconic, he scouts, he sees everything. A really nice scout timing here for the Draconic. He sees everything he needs to. This time, does he respect the mutas? That's the question here. I did really like the Hellion dives. I'll be honest. Like, I really liked the Hellion dives from the Draconics. Like, I think he was playing really well last game. He was doing a lot of economic damage. But he again chose to make more tanks than Thors. Right? He chose to get into that kind of unit composition, and he got punished for it. Oh, going for a Hellion drop this time. Okay, I see you. So once again, committing to Hellion harass, this time into drop play. Remember, last game it was a Viking opener to hunt down the Overlords. But the Draconics, he wants to pop off once again with those Hellions. We'll see if he can. We'll see if he can be more successful this time. Here comes the Spire, as we assumed. Double gases or more gases on the way. Again, this is the same build. Same build, 2 games in a row from VortiX. Faster eBay this time for faster turrets. Ooh, okay, medevac into Banshee. Interesting. The Banshee follow-up into Cloak. Medevac has arrived. Overlord does confirm. And VortiX, he does rotate into the main. Does respond in time. Hellions, they get a volley off, but not much more damage. So far, VortiX, he holds on. So far, he's holding. Draconics, he pivots away, pivots back. Oh, let's go the Jukes. The Jukes from Draconics, he's got some moves. Dives into the middle line, Ling's out of position, drones are gonna get roasted. And how many? So far 3. Nothing major. Medevac takes a lot of hits. Oh no! Oh, has to leave, has abandoned 2 Hellions. 2 Hellions go down, 2 Hellions for 3 drones. I would say a better defense here for VortiX. Does defend. Oh my god! What's happening? It's Draconics going proxy second starport into 2-port Banshee? Against Muta? Okay. Okay. I mean, he knows it's Muta. He scans, like, he knows it's Mutas. This is crazy. Behind this, going to turrets, going into mech. But a very different style of mech here. Like, I don't know how much these Banshees are really going to do, to be honest. I mean, there's no spores. And nothing to kill here at the 3rd base. Drones are being targeted. Hellions, they attempt to dive into the natural. Oh, they get some transferring workers, not bad. Hellions pull away, Banshee does fall. And we're not doing anything with this, are we? Yeah, no. Draconics, calm down, Pappy, calm down. Let's go. Going proxy Banshee. This is so risky. So risky here. I mean, game 1 as well was risky as well, in a different way, right? He's lost his mind. Okay, gets a Muta. Takes out 1 Muta. Hellions, they threaten another dive. There are some Lings to defend. As Lings, they collapse on the Hellions. Nice movements. Lings, they're getting roasted. They do get 1, 2, up to 3 Hellions. 3 Hellions go down. Mutas are deflected. Hellions, they rush past the Queens once they get into the mineral line. Getting some value here. Getting 2 drones. Oh, getting 3. Getting 3 workers. We're banking on more Banshees. I mean, there's still, like, okay, so the reason why there's no Spore is because, like, logically, if like, logic is out the window of this game, but logically here, VortiX has map control, and it wouldn't make sense to go into Banshee because of all the Mutas, right? Like, there are so many Mutas on the map. VortiX has map control. It wouldn't make sense to go Muta because chances are these Mutas, sorry, it doesn't make sense to go Banshee because chances are these Mutas would hunt down the Banshees, right? They would hunt down the Banshees. Right now, they're hunting down the Medevac. As we see, like, they're containing Draconics. So it makes no sense to have a proxy out of the map for Banshees, which is why there are no spores. That's what I'm getting at. Like, that's why there's no spores, because you don't need spores, like in a proper game like this. But because there's no spores, I mean, now this can work. If the Muta's out of position. And here we go. Banshees, they dive in. Mutas, they do respond. Yeah, we can see that VortiX, he does pull the boys, does pull away. Again, this is a cheeky move, but alas, VortiX is on top of this. Hellions, they dive into the mineral line. There are Lings to respond, and these Mutas are not getting much done. They're not, sorry, these Banshees are not getting much done. So good reactions here by VortiX. He pulls away, saves the drones. Ideally, Draconics, he wanted a distraction, right? He wanted a distraction somewhere to keep these Mutas busy. And he hasn't scouted this, by the way, but I think he's about to. Yeah, he's about to scout. Potentially. Behind this, Thors are on the way. Now, what's important here is that these Banshees are still alive. The Banshees, they're still alive. They're still here. They can still pose a threat. As we mentioned, if we can see Draconics move out and keep VortiX's attention elsewhere, then these Banshees, they can pop off. But now it's too soon. It's a little bit too soon. Oh. Yeah, Mutas are still in position. Oh no, the Banshees. Yeah, they get caught. They get caught out. A massive catch. Yeah, there's no escaping this. The Banshees will all go down. A hyperflight, mate. Pappy, what's going on? It's too late. Hyperflight Rotor's on the way. Is he gonna go back into Banshee production? No shot. No shot. Scan reveals roaches. Okay, this time it is mass Muta, true. It is how many? 15 Mutas into a roach-based army. Roaches are revealed. Draconics knows. VortiX moving forward. Back at home, how many Thors? 4. Okay, this time there's 1 extra Thor, and he's got a massive ring of turrets. So this time he has plenty of anti-air, but now he needs ground army. Now he needs something for the roaches. And VortiX is maxed out. He's maxed out. He dives on those Thors. Thors are going to go down one after the other. And there are no tanks. This time there's 0 tanks. The time that there's Roach Ravager, 0 tanks. And with that, VortiX, he breaks through. To be fair, a lot of this also came down to this. Came down to the Mass Banshee. It was crazy. And VortiX, he will overwhelm. He will overwhelm the army, takes down the tanks, takes down the Thors. And VortiX, he will take the series here. GG. that was crazy. That was crazy. GG, well played. VortiX will take the series, but we'll see if Ducklings can bounce back in game 3. GG, well played. There was a lot here that I really liked from Ducklings. I really liked the initial Hellion drop opener. He did find damage. Remember, he found damage, he scouted everything, he was getting some drone kills, trading well against the Lings. The proxy starport 2-port Banshee was massive brain play, but it's one of those things where it either works or it just fails horribly, right? And winding it back to that moment, I do think that it was a mistake for the Banshees to move in by themselves. I do think that he had to commit to a fake move out, to like a fake push on one side and distract those mutas and keep VortiX's attention elsewhere, and then go with the Banshees, because he went in initially with the Banshees first. Like, they got seen, they got spotted, they got shut down. Like, it was just a really, really big commitment into those Banshees, and all the eggs, they were there, and they got cracked. It didn't quite work out. GG, well played. But it's been a crazy series. Do people not take Blue Flame anymore? If you were here for game 1, there was Blue Flame in game 1. Blue Flame was in game 1. Blue Flame would not have really changed anything here in game 2. But yes, was in game 1. And here we go, we're getting into game number 3, and spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Ley Lines, we have our Peruvian Terran player, the Teal Terran. Down in the series, we'll see if we can put that point on the board, see if he can fight back. It is Ducklings. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the blue Zurich player from land of Spain. The returning legend himself, up 2-0. It is VortiX. Here we go. As once again, just like game 1, pool first. He is going for a pool first opener. But just like every other game in the series, I do imagine this is going to be initially 2 base muta. See in chat, best of 5? No. This is a best of 3. If you weren't here earlier, for all these matches in the HSL, they are all best of 3s, but all matches are played out. So regardless if they're 3 zeros or 2 1s, all 3 matches are played. But it is a best of 3. So the arm going to be moving out. And with this scout, Ducklings, he does confirm the hatchery is late. So late hatchery here from VortiX. So he confirms pull first. And ideally wants to get eyes on the gas timing. Confirms later gas. So not a gas first build. Ducklings, he sees everything he needs to. He can back off and he can prepare back at home. Can prepare. You can see as a result of the pull first, CC on the high ground, and the Reaper should be more defensive. It should be staying at home to deal with this. I say that is rallied across the map, so a bit of a riskier move here from Ducklings. It's going to be a riskier move. So the Lings are being active. Ducklings, okay, it does stay. Yeah, it does stay back home, does patrol, and the Lings will back off. The Overlord does see the Reaper. Oh, no reaction. Yeah, no reaction, no response. Gets surrounded. Ducklings not paying attention. Oh, now he's in trouble. He's in trouble. Lings, they move in, and if the CC was on the low ground, it would be delayed, but thankfully he's on the high ground, and the wall is solid. Has to pull a couple of boys to repair. But Ducklings, he should be able to maintain this position. But this is still nice damage from VortiX, as that's 4 SCVs off the mineral line. And back at home, VortiX is droning. VortiX is droning up, he's saturating. he stays in gas. He stays in gas. What does that mean? That means once he has 100 gas, he's going for the lair. Now, this is going to be a later lair because it was later gas. So late gas means late lair, means late 2-base muta, more so than in the last game. Just as a heads up. Like, the overall build is affected by this. But based on all the economic damage, I mean, it's pretty worth it. Well, it's pretty worth it here for VortiX. As he has the gas, show us what you got. As we reach that 330 mark. Going for a Baneling. Okay, this is something very different. I assumed it was going to be, once again, lair into 2-base muta. We can see the gas is not for the lair, is for the Baneling bus instead. Hellion pokes in. Ooh, lair is revealed. This is a later lair, though. Much later. This is almost 4 minutes. I mean, winding it back, this is later compared to what we've seen so far, but it is still early, right? Like, a standard lair timing is at 4:30. This is like at sub 4 minutes. We have the lair. And hopefully the Ducklings recognizes something is wrong. Hopefully he recognizes that, hold on, this is later than it otherwise has been so far this series. What's happening? Does he piece together that there's some earlier tech, like a Roach Warren or a Baneling Nest? And here comes the bust. Here comes the Bane bust. Again, the Ducklings, he has not pieced this together, not yet. He does spot all these lings though. Almost gets surrounded. Does roast them up. A decent trade here for the Ducklings. Considering this is an all-in, remember, no drones. We're not droning up the natural, third base just for larva. Mass Bane bust is on the way. But VortiX is being slowed down. Oh, Hellions are being baited onto Grief. And here comes a surround. Yeah, now he knows. Now he sees the Mass Ling. Nice positioning here behind the mineral line. Very nice positioning. Oh my god, so many Lings get roasted. Hellions will go down, but this is a better trade for the Ducklings. Checking the trades here. 31 Lings for 7 Hellions. Bane Bust has been delayed. Spire is on the way. VortiX, oh, he's gonna have to drone soon. But he's in a rough position. Banelings are spotted. He knows. Does he have anything to defend? 2 Hellions. No shot. 2 Hellions to defend. VortiX, he's diving in. Does have into the mineral line. SV's going to be going down. He busts down the wall as well. And the VortiX, can he hold on? The Lings are getting SCV kills. Yeah, there's just the 1 Hellion. And just 1 Hellion to defend. They're getting 14 SCVs, and this is getting out of hand. This is just becoming far too much here. Hellions are pulling one after the other. Boys being pulled. The Viking will help, but this is game ending. This is game ending damage at this point. SCVs were in hold position. Get another Hellion. And behind this, Ducklings, he drones. He's droning up. He's droning up, going for the Spire, going for the mutas. Again, Ducklings, he didn't fully realize what was going on until it was too late, and he was focusing on the production, right? It's like he was getting more factories, getting add-ons. Oh, a tank goes down as gets a tank. Takes down the tank as well. And the Ducklings, he's down to 8 SCVs. 8 SCVs remaining, barely an economy, and he has nothing to counterattack. He has 2 Hellions, he has 1 Viking. VortiX happily droning up, saturating on 2 bases, now getting a 3rd base. Spire is done, Muta's on the way. VortiX is all over this. It's all over this. And again, the Ducklings, he just wasn't able to recognize what was, how to piece it all together, what was happening. The late lair, the lack of scouting behind the mineral line. Ducklings did have incomplete information and was too greedy. He was just too greedy here. It's far too greedy. And there it is. GG gets called. The writing was on the wall, and VortiX will take the 3-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played, VortiX. He will take the 3-0. Very, very impressive play there by VortiX. But I would say this has been the most entertaining series. I do recommend it. Game 1 and Game 2 especially. Game 3 was a little bit more lackluster because there was no back and forth. Like, it was basically VortiX hiding his all-in, and Ducklings, and successfully so. Ducklings, he was unable to piece it all together. He was caught with his pants down, but game 1 and game 2 were crazy. they were wild, papi. Oh my god. So if you missed out, I do recommend it. Do recommend checking out the first 2 games of this series. It was some intense and insane ZVT. Muta versus Mech, I should say as well. It was very back and forth, and it was beautiful. And that leads us into the second half of that broadcast. Here we go, as we switch the scenes over and catch up on the group. As a reminder, this is a round robin group, and we have had nothing but 3 O's so far. Shift Click does take down NeO 3-0, VortiX will down Shift Click 3-0, VortiX will down Ducklings, and we do have 2 more matches remaining here. It's going to be VortiX versus NeO and RyoGin versus NeO as well. Here we go. So we still have some more ZVTs ahead of us here. Still have more matches to come. So for the time being, we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break here. When we come back, we're going to be featuring some more VortiX, this time against NeO, another Terran player. I would say he's another Terran meching player as well. And I don't know which series was played first. I don't know if Ducklings or NeO would have let each other know about the VortiX's playstyle, but I expect more Muta play. I'll be honest, I expect more 2-base Muta, and I expect more mech, and we'll see if NeO can succeed where Ducklings otherwise did fail. We'll see. For now, they're going to be going on that break. Take this time to get some snacks, get some food, get some water, drain your disruptors, massage your marines, and we'll be back soon with some more HSL. See you soon. Oh, see you soon, Pappy. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of the broadcast, the second half of the Hispanic StarCraft II League Group F. We've been featuring a lot of VortiX here tonight. Again, he's a returning legend of StarCraft of the scene, and we're going to be featuring him one last time, this time against NeO. NeO, of course, a player that is near and dear to our hearts here. He is an ex-CranKy Duckling. For those who are maybe a little bit newer to the channel, the CranKy Ducklings, back in the day, we used to have a pro roster. We technically still have some players under our name, true, with Eric and with Ryu, but we did have a more dedicated pro roster, and we had a more dedicated Latin American team as well, with Eric, Ryu, and NeO. NeO, he was a part of the CranKy Ducklings, and of course, NeO, he has a reputation, especially in this matchup. We didn't really get to see it against ShiftClick, but NeO, he is known for mech. He's known for his mech. He's known for making it up. I guess in a way similar to Ducklings. Ducklings, he also did play mech against VortiX. We expect mech here as well. We do expect mech, but most likely a different kind of mech, a different kind of style. We'll see how he can handle VortiX, and we'll see if there was any communication between the players, right? Like NeO and Ducklings, they are very familiar with each other, both Peruvian Terran players. They do interact a lot as well, and I'm curious if they did end up letting each other know what was going on and how VortiX was playing, because I'm sure VortiX is a bit of an enigma coming into this. Like, I wasn't really expecting, or I didn't know what to expect when it comes to VortiX's play. Coming into this, now I expect mutas. I expect 2-base muta almost every game. Let's go. As we are jumping into our ZVT. Here we go. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we have the Peruvian Terran player, the Red Terran. It is NeO. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Spanish Zerg player, the Zerg player from Spain. He is blue. He is VortiX. Here we go. As welcome one and all to Abyssal Reef. Abyssal Reef is a very large map of the map pool. Because of its size, I would say that it is safer on this map to go into muta play. Likewise, I would say it is safer also to turtle up and get into mech. I did actually prefer the map pool that VortiX and Ducklings were playing on from the side of Ducklings, just because Ducklings was being so aggressive with Hellion run-bys and drop play and counterattacks and back and forth with Banshees and Hellions and Blue Flame. It was crazy. So I did kind of like that dynamic. That's going to be a little bit less impactful here, just because of the size of the map and how defendable you are. If VortiX were to play 2-base muta, he can fully wall this ramp off. He can just fully wall this off with Evo Chambers, with a Bailey Nest, with a Roach Warren as well, and he can just limit the attack paths that Hellions have, so he can be a lot more secure. I'm making the assumption that we're going to end up in that game state, and I stand by that for now. Hashgas full opener out of VortiX. NeO going for a Rax expand. So far, so good. And we'll see how our players adapt to each other over the course of the series. After what happened between VortiX and Ducklings, I do favor VortiX, I'll be honest. I would say that Ducklings and NeO are very comparable in skill. They're very comparable in skill. So I am definitely feeling concerned, but at the same time, like, that series with Ducklings was so close as well. I know it was a 3-0, but a lot of those games were very close and very clutch, specifically Game 1 and Game 2. So we'll see. So now we are settling in. NeO moving out with his Reaper Scouts. NeO, he did confirm the hatchery timing with the SEV at least, but not much more than that. So he does move out. Reaper dipping into the bases. Lings are keeping up. So far, so good. Once again, VortiX, do you see what I see? I see mining gas. We're still mining gas. This is very unorthodox. So this screams muta play. This screams lair. Again, in a standard ZBT, you would not be mining gas this heavily, this early on, without a reason. Now, we did see VortiX go for a Bane bust in game 3 against his series against Ducklings. But here in Abyssal Reef, I don't really feel a Bane bust occurring. I'm leaning more towards lair. Second gas is now being taken. We have the resources for it. Show us that lair. Show us what you got. There it is. Yeah, 3:10 lair timing here from VortiX. Very early lair timing, and it is on NeO to scout this. For now, NeO is going for a 3cc into starport. Very standard build here by NeO. I would say this build is more standard than anything that Ducklings was doing. so standard economic opener here out of NeO. Everything looking normal. Checking his vision. He did scout the lair. Okay, did dive into the main. NeO knows. Now, seeing the lair this early on, it could be a couple of different things. First things first, 2-base muta, true. Other than that, it could be a Link Queen Nidus all-in. It's also true. Could be some Drop Lord based all-in as well. You can see NeO, he's patrolling. He's patrolling the main base just in case. NeO, he still has the pieces all together. Cleans up the Ling. And once he has his Hellions, he can move out. Ooh, and it's going to be a 3cc, I assume it was Banshee. He does at the Tech Lab, but it's going 3cc Hellion Liberator, not Banshee, not yet. So more Hellions are building up. This could have been a BC opener, but there's no fusion core now. So there's no fusion core, so we're not getting into that. So there's that second factory. As a reminder, NeO, he is known for mech. He had the nickname La Tortuga for a long time. The turtle. For making it up. And for turtling. And I'm concerned that NeO's waiting a little bit too long. He is now being active with those Hellions, and he needs to scout that natural and the main. As he moves out, Lings move in. Nothing back at him to defend. Good timing here for VortiX. And SCVs are going to go down. NeO is going to be punished here. The mules are being targeted. He gets both mules. It takes out both mules. Hellions, they race back home to defend. And this means that the scout is delayed. Snipes 3 SCVs, 2 mules, delays the Hellion run by. And NeO still does not know what's going on. He's still in the dark. He needs to scout. At this point, though, the Spire is already done. Liberator, what do we see? Not much. He needs to check the gases. He's aware of the lair, at least. Moving in. Does get eyes on the Link Bane. And he should know. He should know what's going on at this point. Is making another Liberator. But still no anti-air. There we go. Cyclone production has begun. And again, this is a little more standard. Like and there we go. He does spot the mutas. Now he's fully aware what's going on. Cyclone production fully underway. What I was going to say is that the series between VortiX and Ducklings was just so chaotic and so crazy. But this is like what a standard Terran would do. Like if they were playing mech. Like, oh, they scout mutas, they respond with cyclones, we have a third base already done, getting into Viking production. Like, this is more sane. Like, this all makes more sense. It shows you the difference between NeO and Ducklings. Like, they both played mech, that is true, but both very different forms of mech. Like, Ducklings, he was going for, like, purely, like, Hellion run-bys and drop play and Banshees and going into Thor tank. Here, battle mech. Hellion Cyclone. So a very different response, but a much more standard response. Oh, as the first Cyclone goes down! Yeah, a bit of miscontrol there from NeO. As he does get caught out. We'll trade for NeO. And he was settling in. He's settling in, throwing down more turrets. Again, we saw that Ducklings throw down like 4 turrets per base. Here, the tower count is much leaner. Again, this is more efficient from the side of NeO. Just a handful of turrets sprinkled around. And the goal here is to keep up with the rotations of the mutas with his cyclones. So this is more efficient, but it's also, again, a little bit more riskier, as you have to be able to keep up with the movement of your opponent. Mutas making their way towards that natural. Back at home, it looks like we are switching into Roach production, +1 range on the way. Upon seeing the transition into battle mech, we do see that VortiX, he takes it more seriously here, as opposed to the previous game where Ducklings was avoiding anti-air for a long time and going into Thor production. Here, we do see that VortiX, he is much faster to get out of mutas and into Roach Ravager. SCV's going down, Cyclones, they do keep up. Hellions, they do get ready for a run-by. They get ready for a counterattack. Alas, Roaches are in position. Yeah, VortiX is ready for this. He zones away those Hellions. The roaches are revealed, which means now NeO knows that he has to focus on his ground army, or for his ground defense, tank production. We need tanks, Hellions, Cyclones. It's not about the mutas, not anymore. This time it was just a stepping stone. As we're getting a couple of SCVs. 2, 3 SCVs going down. I will say that these mutas haven't really gotten much damage. Oh! Oof! That scan was brutal. Again, 7 mutas for 12 SCVs. The trades haven't been amazing, but what has been amazing from VortiX is the map control, right? These mutas, sure, they haven't killed much, but they have contained NeO. They've contained him, and now VortiX, he's pushing. He's on 3-base saturation, joining up his 4th base even a little, half base saturation at his 4th. 70 workers, maxing out with Lingbane Roach Ravager. And without a solid 10 count, this is going to be a tough hold. This is going to be a tough hold here for NeO. As he has 3 tanks. Late to siege. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit late to siege. First tank goes down, the other just now sieging up. And VortiX, he breaks through. He breaks through. NeO, he was not ready for this. He was not expecting these roaches this quickly. And VortiX, he breaks through. He breaks through that defensive line, breaks through the tanks. Gets into the mineral line. And he is up. He has broken the mineral line here. Another tank going to be falling here to the biles. And again, just a very different dynamic between NeO and VortiX compared to what we saw previously. VortiX, he breaks through. He has 21 more roaches up filing across the map. He just rallies. He breaks the main army. You even have a couple of corruptors, okay? Sure, why not? I mean, they help, I guess. And GG gets called. VortiX, he breaks through that defensive line, and VortiX will take game number 1. Ooh, GG. GG, well played. Again, once VortiX saw the battle mech, he was so much faster to switch out of mutas into Roach Ravager instead. He did not fully saturate on 4 bases. He cut workers at 70, so cut workers at 70 drones and just massed up Roach Ravager. Did strike then and there. NeO, unfortunately, he didn't see the army move out. He saw the roaches, so he was getting into tank production, but he didn't see the roaches knocking down that front door, knocking down the rocks. If he had, then he would have had a better position. If you remember, his tanks were a little bit further back, and even when the fight was happening, he had a couple of tanks unsieged. Like, he just wasn't ready for the fight at that moment, and with that, he was broken. He was broken then and there. That leads us into game number 2. Ooh. Leads us into game 2. Loading into King's Cove. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of King's Cove, we have the red Terran player, the Peruvian Terran, representing Infinalis Esports. It is NeO. I don't know if he is on Infinalis just because he was representing Gold Masters earlier, so I don't don't know what happened. But spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player from the land of Spain, the returning legend himself, leading the series 1-0. It is VortiX. We go. And I think what I appreciate the most out of game 1 is that it does reveal, and it does show us that VortiX, he is willing to be more flexible as he's going pool first, okay? Pool first opener, but he's willing to be more flexible when it comes to his build, when it comes to his reactions. Every game that we've seen, he has gone 2-base muta, but that last game was the first one that we saw VortiX not commit as hard into mass muta, right? He did invest into, what was it, like 10 or so mutas overall, nothing too crazy, and he did have a much stronger response and reaction to switch out into Roach Ravager instead. And that was after he confirmed the Cyclones. So VortiX, he's not stubborn, he's not, you know, like a one-trick pony sort of thing. I mean, in a sense, like, he is playing muta every game, true, but yeah, he can be very flexible with it. So NeO, he does move out. Does confirm the late hatchery, so NeO knows. And now he confirms the timing of the spawning pool. So he's aware of the pool first. He also confirms lack of second gas, or lack of gas, I should say. So he knows it's not going to be like a Bane bust or a Roach rush. He knows just early things. And it's going to be on NeO to keep his first Reaper back at home. If you remember previously against VortiX's previous opponent, he was able to surround the first Reaper. Here, NeO should be on top of this. So he's racing back home. The one downside here is that NeO is being a little bit greedy. He does get his CC on the low ground despite scouting. I mean, it was a later scout because of the size of the map. But it does mean that he has to fight even harder to protect that natural. Ooh, as NeO, he does avoid the Lings. He moves out across the map instead. Back at home, he's got one Marine. That CC is vulnerable. Yeah, he does miss the Lings. And yeah, missed movement here. He will lose the SCV. He shouldn't lose the base. He should be able to defend it. Yeah, he pulls the boys. It does pull the boys. He should be fine here, but this is a lot of damage. Delayed CC, lost mining time, one SCV kill so far. And he doesn't get a second SCV. Oh, that was close. Doesn't get a second worker, but this is a lot of economic damage. So, very nice start for VortiX. Very nice start. Again, NeO, he kind of misread the movement of the Lings, and he assumed they were coming from a different direction. Or maybe it was just rallied across the map. So I would say a better start here for VortiX. Behind this third CC. Oh, NeO, calm down! As he does actually lift. I'm pretty sure he was hoping to mule. Yeah. Was trying to mule, did lift instead. Calm down, man. Calm down. Meanwhile, gets into the main base and he does scout the lair. So once again, he does confirm the lair timing, and based on what happened last game, he should recognize this should be 2-base Muta. I mean, as always, there is a possibility this is like a Nidus-based all-in or drop lord play or something crazy, something different. But Mutas are going to be on the forefront of his mind. Hunting down overlords. Do have a second factory on the way. And once again, we're loading into King's Cove. It is a very large map in the map pool, so it's going to be quite difficult for NeO to be aggressive with Hellion Reaper. But now going for a rescout. Does dive in, gets eyes on the lair. A little bit too soon to scout the Spire, unfortunately. There we go, Spire with the natural. This 2-base Muta. VortiX, he hunts down the initial Reaper. And he is in position. Again, we spoke about this ramp earlier on Abyssal Reef. Same here on King's Cove. Very easy to wall off. Very nice movement here by VortiX. He denies the Hellions. And NeO, he doesn't find a way in. Likewise, behind this, Cyclone production has begun. Going into Battle Mech once again. It's embracing Battle Mech. Getting into Magfield. Oh no! Yeah, Lings, they attempt to surround. They catch out the Hellions. Very nice catch here by VortiX. Does clean up those Hellions. Meanwhile, VortiX, I believe he gets a full scout. Yeah, he does get eyes on the factories, of course. This is where the mech. Okay, so where what NeO's up to. And this time, instead of roaches, we do have an earlier Baneley nest here from VortiX. But still making mass Muta. Mutas are building up. We have a turret here in the main base, turret at the natural. No turret in between the bases. You saw that we attempted one, but looks like NeO did change his mind. VortiX is moving in. So got how many? He's got 7 Mutas so far, soon to be 10. So 10 Mutas in total. Massing up Lings. You just say, do hit the natural with the turret's in position. The turret will defend. Nice defense so far. Hellions, they go for a counterattack, but there are Lings to defend. And I spoke too soon. Lings, they move out for a counterattack. But the Hellions are spotted. Blades are spotted. NeO, he dives into the middle line. Lings, they do get back at home in time. At least they try to. As Hellions, they get 4 drone kills. Some okay damage. But they are cleaned up. VortiX, he defends. NeO back at home, trying to turtle. Getting an extra turret. Massing up more Hellion Cyclone. Ooh, as we are gonna bust. Yeah, VortiX, he does get a 4th base for Larva, but he's not fully saturated. He cut worker production here at 53. So VortiX is committed. He's going for the bust. Lack of Hellions is concerning. Blue Flame still on the way. Baneling speed finishing up in 10 seconds. Here, he does have some decent SimCity, but that's a lot of Ling Bane. And it might just be too much. It might be too much here. The wall gets broken. Hellions get surrounded. He's going for the Cyclones. He does rush past. Cyclones, they attempt to kite back. And they will make it back into the main base for the Banelings that get into the middle line. SCVs are going to go down. No, no! Massive connections. 14 SCV kills Lings. They bust into the middle line. More SCVs going to be going down. The Hellions, they're trapped in the main. Mutas, they snowball out of control. They camp the production. And VortiX has done it. He has done it. He has broken the back of NeO. Breaks into the 3rd base. Breaks into natural and into the main. Getting 41 SCV kills and counting. And unfortunately, NeO, he just wasn't quite ready for this. Again, he didn't see the move out. He didn't see the push. Scans across the map. Now he knows. I was like, oh, you don't have a lot of workers, do you? I see. It wasn't all in. Off of 2.5 bases. And yeah, NeO just piecing it all together here. As he has lost his 3rd TC, it did go down. Lost everything at the natural. He's stuck on 1 base. And sure, he's holding on to his 1 base, but GG gets called. There's no breaking out of this, and VortiX will take the 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. VortiX, he will claim the series, but again, we are casting all 3 games. We're casting all 3 games, so there is a chance here for NeO to still put a point on the board, and score-wise still, have a decent showing. So NeO, he's up against the wall here. We'll see if he can fight back. So we're getting into game 3. This time, one of the smaller maps of the map pool. Okay. This time leading into Ultra Love. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have our Peruvian Terran player, the Red Terran, down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. We'll see if he can put a point on the board. It is NeO. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player from the land of Spain, leading the series 2-0, winning the series, and looking to get a better scoreline. It is VortiX. Again, when it came to that last game, NeO, unfortunately, he just wasn't able to confirm the all-in. I mean, again, just to reiterate, that's why he scanned at the end. He scanned the 3rd, and it was only after he was basically dead where he scanned, where he saw it and confirmed, oh, I see, it was an all-in, right? It was an all-in. It was just a Bane bust, and unfortunately NeO, he didn't quite scatter ahead of time, didn't recognize what was going on, and was caught with his pants down. The pants were down, back. The pants were down. And now we're getting into game 3, and once again we are expecting mech out of NeO, and we are expecting Muta play out of VortiX. This time hatch gas pool. This time there's no pool first from our Zerg player. NeO moves out. Does move out. Now coming into Ultra Love, as opposed to the last 2 games, which are insanely large, here the map is smaller. The map is smaller here in Ultra Love. We should be seeing, because of that, more aggression can be favored. The bases are more secure in a sense. They're a little bit more secure. You can knock down these towers. You can fully wall off this location. Likewise, choke points are abound, and there's a bunch of hype, or I should say points of elevation as well. So there are definitely some defendable locations, but because of the rush distance by ground, one misstep, one mistake, and you can counterattack and end the game. Like, pushes do not take long at all to get across the map. This is where I would say that something like Roach Ravager can hit quite hard on Ultra Love. Until then, though, NeO is moving out. So let's move out with his Reaper. Slips into the main. Likewise, staying in gas. So once again, he's staying in gas, which means we should soon be seeing that lair. So once again, 2 base meter. Oh, my mistake. This is actually the same way that that VortiX approached Game 3 against Draconics. It's the same build. Remember, delayed lair, Bane bust. Really early Bane us into a Bane bust. This is what happened in Game 3 against Draconics as well. VortiX going for the same build. Meanwhile, back at home, we do see NeO, he does mix it up. 1-1-1. He's going for a 1-1-1. Beforehand, we had a third command center by now. There is no third CC. So a much more aggressive build here by NeO. And I do like this considering he's up against an all-in. But will he scout? Reaper scout is denied. He does see some lings, but only some. He encounters 4 lings here on the left-hand side. He does not see the full brunt of the army. Here comes the Bane bust, and NeO's moving out. NeO's moving out with the Hellions. He doesn't see this. He doesn't know. The pants are down. They're still down, back. Yeah, Hellions, they're distracted on the left-hand side of the map. They do not see the Bane bust that is coming his way. And by the time he realizes, it may just be too late. What is there at him to defend? There's 2 Hellions. They will spot this. VortiX, he commits. The wall is... No, the wall is open! The wall is wide open. Banelings, they roll in. And they're going for the middle line. They're going for the SCVs, and they will get in. The SCVs, they do go down. Massive connections, massive detonations. Hellions getting surrounded. And VortiX will take it. He will take it. He will break through. As he takes down 21 SCVs. Collapses on the Hellions. There's 3 Hellions left. And NeO down to 11 workers. I mean, mules are good. True, mules are good, but are they that good? As things, they keep wreaking havoc at the natural. Hellions, they will maintain the main. And we can see here a secondary all-in coming, or second wave coming in with that Ling Bane. Oh no, the surround! No, the surround! Gets a Hellion, gets 2. 1 Hellion left. Uno más, papi, uno más. Lings, they flood into the middle line. This time we do have a full wall. The wall is up. NeO, he will defend. He will clean up those lings. Oh god. Banelings, they break down that front door. Take down both depots. And VortiX is now droning. Now he's droning up. Now he's taking a 3rd expansion. That would have been another tell as well if NeO had confirmed that there was no expansion, that there was no hatchery. That's just limited scouting here from NeO. And he has some catching up to do. Now, with mules with 2 CCs, he can slowly recover here. It is possible, definitely. The problem is that he can't quite move out without a wall. So the Hellions are stuck at home. He can move out with the Liberator at least. And there's potential with these Hellions. VortiX doesn't have the largest advantage economically. I mean, he's got a lot of workers, but still needs that hatchery. So NeO, he can try to recover from here. It's not going to be easy though. And he needs to get some counter damage. Here we go. Now he's got a wall. Now he can wall up. We see VortiX is checking for the Hellions. If the Hellions move out, then VortiX, he's looking to move in. Here we go. Hellions, they commit. That does trigger these lings. VortiX, he will try to knock down that front door. Oh, and there's not much to defend. VortiX, he backs off, doesn't go for it. Hellions, they threaten to dive. NeO, he pulls back. So what does he do? Dive into the main. NeO, he's trying to be active, but he runs into the lings. Yeah, rough trades for NeO. I mean, he takes down a lot of lings, that is true, but he can't afford these losses. His Hellions are being hunted down. Oof. Likewise, liberating the main also falls. Lair into Spire, no surprise here. VortiX, he eventually gets into his mutas. Ah, all roads lead to Murapa, to the Mortas. Meanwhile, NeO, he is turtling up, getting into mech, going into battle mech once again, into Macfield accelerators, going for his third TC. And because he's playing mech, I will say that if NeO can successfully get up to 3 base saturation, he can try to turtle. He can try to turtle, wall up, wall off, and yeah, try to recover that way. That is true, that is possible. That is going to be a possibility. But at the same time, he's also going to be reliant on VortiX being passive. VortiX, he's droning, that is true, but soon the Spire is going to be done, and he'll be looking for that damage. Likewise, once he confirms Battle Mech, we've seen time and time again, VortiX, he typically is real fast and real quick to switch into Roaches. Into a Roach-based army. So I don't know if NeO can successfully defend his third. It's going to be difficult to establish that third base. Mutas are amassing. Here comes that third expansion. This is kind of like the next big challenge to overcome for NeO. Is can he maintain this third? Can he hold on to it? As Mutas are moving out. They move out, they confirm the mineral line, they commit here onto the Cyclones. They get one, just the one. Okay, better defense here from NeO. He does defend, does hold. VortiX looking for another way in. Behind this, oh, there's no turrets yet. Turrets are just now being thrown down, the turrets are late. Mutas, they hit the natural. Oh, and they will get some economic damage here. Getting 4, getting 5, getting 6 SCV kills. They get punished though. Okay. NeO, he takes down 8 Mutas. Oh my god. 8 Mutas go down for 6 SCVs. NeO, he's holding on. He's recovering. Is recovering here. VortiX in the meanwhile is going to be getting fully saturated on 4 bases. It's getting up to 4 base saturation. Likewise, going into 1-1 plus on melee tells us that most likely not going into Roaches. It looks like straight up Ling Bane Muta from the side of VortiX, which I think is a good thing for NeO. I was worried about that Roach switch, but Roaches are not here. They're not coming. So no Roaches out of VortiX. This is, I will say, potentially best case scenario here for NeO. I say potentially, like he's still building up. Still getting there. VortiX is running up to 78, now building up his Ling Bane Muta. Devastation bits on the way. That is going to be for the Hive. And from here, VortiX can start taking towards Ultras. That is a tech path he can go for. 4th CC on the way, he gets spotted by the Mutas. Spotted by VortiX. Okay, that's a lot of Mutas. They do dive in. Yeah, they collapse here on top of the Cyclone. Cyclone's going to be going down. There's no stims, so the Marine army is not really too effective. And the Mutas that will clean this up. There's no anti-air. There's no anti-air. There's no Thors, no more Cyclones. There's 3 Marines and 1 Viking. And these Mutas on their own, they can kill everything. They can just kill everything here. Ay, ay, ay. Just not enough anti-air. Here come the Lings. Tanks are unsieged. Bailings, they do roll into the Hellbats. And GG gets called. NeO is broken, and VortiX will take the 3-0. GG. GG, well played. NeO, he almost recovered. He almost recovered from a really rough start. Like, the Bane bust was brutal. Again, NeO, he didn't see the lack of third, he didn't see lack of saturation, didn't see what was happening. NeO was caught with his pants down, and with that, the Bane bust did overwhelm. Despite that, again, he was clawing his way back into it, and I was very impressed up until that final fight. Unfortunately, again, NeO, he was lacking anti-air, and more importantly, I would say NeO was being greedy. What I mean by that, the reason why NeO got caught, not just lack of anti-air, was because he was trying to expand. He was trying to expand, which means when he did take that fight, he was fighting out of range of any turrets. He had his turrets protecting his main, his natural, his third, and in between the bases, but he took a fight outside of that. He took a fight out, further out into the open, and that's where he, again, didn't really have much support. GG. GG, well played. VortiX does take it. And that leads us into the final series of the broadcast. Here we go. We have another ZVT. We're going to be jumping into NeO versus RyoGin. RyoGin is another player here in the group. What I will say is that I would have loved to have casted more of RyoGin, but he hasn't played out all of his matches yet. Again, the players, they have a deadline of until early April to play out all their matches. We're here in the group stage, but there are some matches that haven't been played yet. For example, I would love to see RyoGin versus VortiX, or I should say, I'd love to see RyoGin versus Ducklings. I would love to see Ducklings versus NeO as well, but those are two matches that I believe have not been played yet, so we won't be able to feature them for the time being. We'll not be able to feature them, but we at least have this ZVT. Let's go. Let us go. And again, VortiX showing his prowess here against Terran, a little bit samey in a sense, where he has been heavily reliant on Muta play. I'm now excited to see how VortiX will approach Special, bearing in mind that Special, of course, is also in this, and VortiX, he's undefeated so far in this group, so most likely he will make it out of the group stage. Special, of course, also made it out of his group as well, so we have some potential ZVTs on the horizon. When it comes to our performances so far, I will say that NeO did play more standard. He played mech, but a much more standard form of mech, and it did feel like VortiX was a lot more comfortable against that. It was the Ducklings that was more chaotic, mech as well, but much more chaotic with Hellion run-bys, non-stop Hellion aggression, with the Banshee play as well. It was a lot more chaotic, a lot more dynamic, and yeah, even though it was 3-0s, I would say that Ducklings had a much higher chance of bringing VortiX down. It was closer, it was much closer. Here, VortiX, he was chilling. He's having a great time, and we'll see how NeO can recover and how he compares to, I would say, a more standard Zerg player, in a way. Up next, NeO versus RyoGin. Let's go. Jumping into game number 1. File a missing pants report. Oh no. Oh no. Not like this. As spawning in the top right hand corner. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Ultra Love, we have our Peruvian Terran player, the Red Terran. Oh, playing out his final series here of the broadcast, representing Infernales Esports. It is NeO. NeO. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the Bolivian Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Infernales Esports as well. It is RyoGin. We go. As we are setting up, and we did have VortiX opening up 2 base Muta almost every game. I say almost every game because, of course, there was that one game in both series where he did open up Bane Bus instead, but he definitely had a certain style to him. Not standard at all. Here, RyoGin is more of a standard player. I expect Hatch Gas Pull into a 3rd base, into Ling Bane, into maybe Ling Bane Hydra, or into Roach play. I don't really expect Mutas out of RyoGin. He's not that kind of player. So we should be seeing a very different dynamic. As a result as well, I'm sure NeO is going to be much more comfortable against RyoGin, against a more standard player as well. But we'll see. What I can say for certain is most likely NeO is going to play mech. And this time he doesn't have to play battle mech. He can get into a more tank heavy composition if he so chooses to. RyoGin can be aggressive though. RyoGin, we have seen him go for roach all-ins in the past. RyoGin, I would say, is one of the more active players in the current tournament scene. In the Latin American scene, I should say. RyoGin is more active. Maybe the most active Zerg player currently, even more active than Cham. Like, I would say Cham is a stronger Zerg player in Latin America, but RyoGin does play in more tournaments. Maybe Eon as well. Eon, the Costa Rican Zerg. That's what I'm getting at, is that we've been covering RyoGin a lot more in recent times, in the recent year. On here he does poke in. Just in here he does poke in, checking for the third base. We'll confirm the third base has been taken. And we can settle into a much more standard game state. Send out an Amber Alert for the pants. Oh no. Ay. Where have they gone? Who has taken them? Who has taken all the pants? As NeO is going 3 CC before Starport. Again, economic opener out of NeO. From here we can go into Hellion Banshee. Or Hellion Liberator. Followed by another factory, followed by Mech, of course. Just poking in. Does poke in. Does catch one SCV, not bad. Takes down the SCV, gets a scout off, does confirm the 1-1-1 follow-up, and oh my god, that is not normal. We do have Overlord Speed on the way. Interesting. Now, I'm curious if this is just very safe play. He's staying in gas. Okay. He's staying in gas. In my mind, it would make the most sense to go Overlord Speed into Lair, into Dropalords. So we'll see if we go for the Lair after this Queen. As we've reached that 4-minute mark, we have the money for it. Yep, there it is. There's the Lair. Dropalords. This should be for Dropalords. And is RyoGin willing to go for, say, like a Link Queen Dropalord all-in, or just Link Harass? We'll see. Overlord Speed is revealed. Does confirm the 3CC. It's just really safe play. I mean, it's still a really fast Lair. There it is. Roach Speed. Roaches. So he's taking up into Roaches. So it looks like Overlord Speed was not for drop play, at least not yet. It was just for scouting. And again, at least NeO was aware that Overlord Speed is now done. This is typically a very inefficient way to play, just because you can get the same amount of scouting without Overlord Speed. The Overlord would die, of course, but you would get a full scout regardless. So just very safe play here out of RyoGin. Extra factories being thrown down, as we did mention, is going to be Mech out of NeO. And RyoGin is droning. RyoGin is droning, is saturating, getting into his lair, getting into Roach Speed. And up, there are those Dropalords. We called it earlier, and it's going to be delayed. I'm a little bit on the fence about this Dropalord play, just because Overlord Speed was already revealed. So NeO should be aware that something is wrong. Like as we mentioned, like Overlord Speed is not, you don't often get it this early on, and it's a sign of inefficiency, unless you're going for Dropalord play. And here comes the all-in. It's going to be a Roach Queen all-in. Dropalords, they load up all the queens, and Roaches, they move forward. Let's go. So it's all or nothing for RyoGin. And NeO, he does not see this coming. He does. Oh, he's going double armory. Oh god. He's going double armory. He scans, now he sees the lair, he sees the Roach Warren, doesn't see much else. Turrets are being thrown down, and here we go. RyoGin, he's going for the kill, he's going for the throat. NeO, he didn't see this coming until it's been too late. Does have the Banshees to defend, there is detection. Queen's dropped in, and the Roach Ravager will knock down that front door. He busts into the natural. Boy's being pulled away, NeO, he has to evacuate. He abandons the natural. There's no tanks. Without any tanks, how does he hold? He doesn't. But the tank is out in a couple of seconds. He also saves the boys. He saves the SCVs. Hellbat's morphing in. Tanks getting in position. Yeah, tanks are revealed, and RyoGin, it took too long. Did it take a little bit too long here? The pants are up, kind of. Oh, he's heavily supply blocked. From here, RyoGin, he can just rotate. Yeah, he can rotate over. He can go straight for that third base. Yeah, it does go for the mineral line. Takes down all the SCVs. And he's spreading creep. He's spreading creep. Just being as annoying as possible. Oh. Yeah, I'm loving this drop as well. Spreading creep at the third location. Just spreading creep at the natural, spreading creep at the third, and containing NeO. And yes, NeO, he does hold, he does survive. It was a good reaction out of NeO, but the problem is that he's stuck. He's contained. He's contained on one base. He's getting a fourth CC. He will eventually break out, but once he does, RyoGin, he can freely drone. He can freely drone, freely saturate. NeO is getting to a cyclone, still supply blocked. Trying to break out. We'll catch the queens. Queens are gonna fall. We have the Raven here for detection. Ah, that's still a lot of Roach Ravager though. Yeah, still a lot of Roach Ravager. And RyoGin, he's pushing up the ramp. He's going for the tank. Only one tank sieged. Only one tank. He's gonna get it. That tank goes down. Gets one, gets two, gets all three tanks. Ay, ay, ay. RyoGin, he busts into the main base. Boys are being pulled. NeO, he will survive this. He will clean this up, but at a cost. At a cost of 26 SCV. Oh, God. 28. 28 workers go down. Now, thankfully, there's still a Raven. With the Raven, we don't need scans, so the creep is going to be cleaned up. RyoGin behind this, going into mutas? Okay. okay. NeO, he still has PTSD from his last series. He's like, thank God I'm playing against RyoGin, who just like aced me with roaches. Thank God there's no mutas, right? Right? As mutas are coming. They're on the way. What's the anti-air looking like? There is one turret. There's one turret. No Cyclone. There's one Viking. No Thor. There's an auto turret, true. So there's one Viking, there's an auto turret. That's the anti-air. And here it comes. Here comes RyoGin. And dropping on the main army. And it looks like this time he will finally break NeO. Getting on top of the tanks. Going for the Viking as well, knocking down any kind of anti-air. GG gets called, and RyoGin, he breaks the natural, and he will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. He will take a lead in the series, and we'll see if NeO can bounce back. We shall see. Again, unfortunately, NeO, he was unable to really confirm what was going on. If you remember, he was unable to see the Roach move out, the main push. He did recognize Overlord speed at least, but didn't piece 2 and 2 together. And alas, it was that Queen drop Lord all in with the Roaches. A bit of a German taxi. Bit of a German taxi here from RyoGin. And now we're getting into game number 2. Got to be loading into King's Cove. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of King's Cove, we have our Peruvian Terran player, the Red Terran representing Infernales Esports. It is NeO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player from Bolivia, Papi, representing Infernales Esports as well. It is RyoGin. Let's go. And now we're going to be loading into a much larger map in the map pool. Welcome one and all to King's Cove. Because of the size of the map, I do expect to see something more standard early on. We can try to rush into muta play, rush into a faster tech, of course, but for the most part, this map is much more defendable on 2 and 3 bases. Unlike the previous map, here we have a ramp coming into the natural, but I would say a much more narrow ramp coming into the natural, much easier to defend, much easier to wall off. Likewise, a ramp coming into the 3rd base as well. So it can be very difficult to break a defending player on 3 bases. Very difficult. Likewise, because of the size of the map, reinforcements take a long time to get across as well. We did see that VortiX did break NeO on this map with Ling Bane Hydra with a 2.5 base all in. If you remember, VortiX did not drone his 3rd. He only made a handful of workers here and did commit. But that was also a more unique style as well. It was overly muta-based opener. It was crazy. So we'll see what RyoGin has for us this time. SCV does dip in. We'll confirm the hatch opener. So he does spot the timing, is aware of the hatch gas pool, does confirm, should be feeling safe. Oh no. Points at the pants. Ah, where did they go? Where did they go? As NeO, he does pull back. A second, oh sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We do have our natural on the way. Rax into factory, standard follow-up. Reaper is moving out. And the dance will begin between the Reaper and the Lings. So far, it does actually find them. It does run into Lings, will shut them down, gets one. Going for the other. So not a bad catch here from NeO. The other two do move out across the map. Likewise, RyoGin getting his 3rd on location. NeO getting his 3rd base in his main, going for a 3cc build, 3cc into Banshee. Standard opener out of NeO. Ooh, RyoGin doesn't pull out. He does not pull out a gas. Yo, what's with the Zerg players today? What's going on? If I was casting VortiX, I'd be like, okay, 2 base muta. I'd be like, 2 base muta, it's coming, it's happening. This could be 2 base muta, just like the last game. Oh, same build actually. Same build. He stays in gas, rushes into Overlord speed. This leads into a faster lair. And this can once again lead into a Drop Lord based all-in, into another German taxi. Okay, RyoGin. Okay, let's go. Does seem like the bit. No! Does seem like the same build. Reaper gets shut down and no scout into the main. NeO's in the dark. NeO, he is in the dark. Behind this, still opening up. Hellion Banshee. Getting ready for the add-on swap. Now, I will still stand by that these all-ins are weaker on this map just because it takes longer to get across the map, but we'll see if RyoGin does commit. As we should be seeing that lair. Overlord dives in for the scout, does confirm the 3rd CC and the 111. Sees everything in the main. And RyoGin, there we go. This is a later lair. This was at 4:18. This is a 4:18 lair timing. Last game, this was at around 4 minutes, or like just under 4 minutes. So this is a later response. It was also a bit of a later scout. There's that Roach Horn. It is still the same build, but it does seem a little bit less refined this time. But part of it may just be because of the size of the map and just the later scout into the main. As NeO is going to be opening up Hellion Banshee. Going into bio? NeO. Is that... Oh, wait, no. Okay. Wait, what? we have a second... He is getting into mech, but he's making stim. I guess just for show. But, like, who's going to believe that? No shot. Like, there we go. He does cancel stim. But, I mean, Pappy, you're NeO. Like, who are you trying to fool? Does RyoGin fall for? I mean, RyoGin, he saw the second factory. He saw the second factory. Hopefully he clicked on it, so he should realize it's a fake out. Ooh, double Evo chamber on the way. Not going for the Dropper Lords. Yeah, RyoGin, he's not going for the all-in. Going for meters, going for the Spire. Taking all of his gases. A different response. Very different. And even though he made the Roach one, he's not making any Roaches. 0 Roaches here from RyoGin. Scan reveals the Spire. He sees. He knows. He spots the Spire. He sees the gases. We'll be getting ready back at home. RyoGin, does he cancel? He knows he's been spotted. He knows that NeO knows, but NeO knows that he knows that he knows. Roach speed. I like this. Roach speed is on the way. I wouldn't be opposed to making only like 5 meters to one-shot SCVs to harass and then just building up Roach Ravager instead. Speaking of, NeO does call his bluff and he's building up tanks, not Cyclones. He's not going to Cyclone production, he's going to tanks instead. NeO calling RyoGin's bluff. Getting ready for Roaches, not getting ready for meters for the time being. Yeah, double armory, jeez. Double armory on the way. Very greedy here from NeO. Now he's going to Cyclones. Hellions are being active, and we can see that RyoGin, he didn't really make too many meters. Again, he's spending gas on what? Spending gas on Roach speed, spending gas on Roaches, on +1 range. He is making a handful of meters, but it's mainly going to be a Roach-based composition. And on the one hand, I do like this from RyoGin, but NeO is reading him well. At least it feels to be the case. He's getting a couple of Thors, but they can also be relatively effective against Roaches. Thors are building up. Very fast infestation pit out of RyoGin. Is he willing to go into Swarm Host? Against mech, Swarm Host, they have their place. They have their place against mech, especially on larger armies. Swarm Hosts are going to be viable. As mutas they hit the field. We have 5 more mutas on the way. Oof. They're going to be shut down. You know, they're getting 1 SCV. Yeah, 1 SCV, they get the Viking. Ooh, as the mutas, they barely escape, not losing a single muta. Very, very fortunate trade there for RyoGin. Does pull away in time. Whew. NeO getting a center expansion. Building up more tanks. I mean, he also saw the muta count, so he knows that the muta count is very low. We know that there are 5 more on the way, so the muta count is slowly building up. But it's still more of an afterthought, and we have melee upgrades. Looks like the infestation bit was for not Swarm Host, but for the Hive. So Hive is on the way. RyoGin, he spreads out all of his overlords. Nice vision here so far. Hellions, they get spotted. Oh! As soon as they run into the Thor. RyoGin, he backs off. A second Spire? Wait, what? So, it isn't the second Spire that's weirding me out. It's the Spire plus the Hydra Den. He's getting everything. Getting the Hydra Den, Roach Warren, double Spire, a Hive on the way, infestation pits. I would have assumed that this was to get into Brood Lords, but again, the Hydra Den, and now look, it's just getting everything. It's just, why not? Just throw down everything, Pappy. Let's go. Let's go. As we just say, diving towards that natural. Greater Spire is on the way. And Lurkers as well. Hi. What are we missing? Ultra Cavern. I think that's the only thing we're missing. Where are the Ultras? As we just, ooh, they do take a lot of hits. Take a lot of damage. I mean, RyoGin, he is maxing out. Unfortunately, he's maxed out on a very Roach-heavy composition. I'm not too fond of the idea of going Lurker against a very heavy mech-based composition like this. It can be quite difficult, especially against a lot of tanks. But you could argue that maybe there are too many Thors. We'll see what kind of army RyoGin pieces together, because he's getting all the upgrades. Getting all the upgrades, diving forward. Again, the tank count is low. Yeah, with the low tank count, the first tank is going to get filed down. Second tank as well. Oh, the miles they miss. Miles they did miss for a moment. Oh, he still breaks through. He still breaks through the first line of tanks. Takes down the Thor. Going for the planetary. And the planetary, can he bring it down? It's getting close. Ah, he will not. Yeah, planetary will survive. And NeO holds. Yeah, he holds on. And now RyoGin can remax. What does he remax on? Corruptor Hydra. God damn it. Okay. So he's going Lurker Broodlord, which kind of is like the ultimate anti-ground army, but that's more ideal against Protoss. I'm still not entirely convinced against Terran, but I mean, it can, you know, it can kind of work. There we go. Lunkers are on the way. Getting his Lunkers. Greater Spire is done. Getting to those upgrades. It might just be like Roach Hydra Lurker for now, and maybe Broodlords once the upgrades are a little bit better. Corruptors, they kind of have their place a little bit here against the Vikings and against the Banshees. I mean, you could argue if there were no Corruptors and the Vikings couldn't do anything, but but it's fine. But the tank count is getting higher, and the reality is that tanks, they do shut down Lurkers quite hard. Yeah, it is going to be Lurker. It's going to be Lurker Broodlord. Scan reveals the army composition. Again, it's a bit of a kitchen sink, bit of everything. Ling, Roach, Ravager, Hydra Lurker, Corrupted Broodlord. Let's go. No spellcasters. That's my biggest concern. You can try to make these unit compositions work, and they can with Viper support, with abductions, blinding clouds. But zero spellcasters here, outside of the Ravagers, of course, which are kind of spellcasters, kind of. File Zone connects. RyoGin rotates. Again, the siege line here is looking solid. I'll be honest, I do favor NeO when it comes to this next fight. First Lurker goes down. Takes on the first, takes on the second, and the third. The Lurkers, yeah, they do nothing. Again, in general, like Lurkers, they do struggle against mech, but there's no scan. Okay. There we go. Lurker count gets reset. Now here come the Vipers. And again, what's concerning me here is that, you know, you may be thinking, oh, it was only 4 Lurkers, but the Lurker upgrades were invested into the tech as well. Yeah, Broodlords get caught out. The entire army just crumbles here. NeO, he takes the fight. Again, RyoGin, it's just the army doesn't really, it's not too cohesive here. He's now remaxing with more Hydra Lurker. This time Hydra Lurker Viper. Vipers will help immensely. But the Viking count is concerning. Yeah, NeO, he has momentum. He has momentum, he's moving in. Catching out the Corruptors ahead of time. Yeah, Corruptors are going to be falling. More Vikings rocking up. Oof. And here come those tanks. And NeO finally getting into the swing of things here. He can finally play some StarCraft. Blinding Cloud on the first wave of tanks. Yeah, good Blinding Clouds. They do connect, but the Thors, they hold their own. They're trying to at least. Nice clean up here. They're going to get all the tanks. The tank count is going to be reset. RyoGin, he takes the fight. But this was an expensive trade, as I believe he lost every single Viper. Yeah, the Viper count is reset. No more Vipers. No more spellcasters. And RyoGin, he needs to rebuild them. He needs those Vipers. Again, it was a good fight, but mainly because of the Blinding Clouds. He needs those Blinding Clouds. NeO still making more Thors. I'm not too fond of this, but it does look like NeO is just really terrified about a Broodlord switch, about a Broodlord transition. I mean, there's still a couple of Corruptors, so there's like validation there to be that afraid. But against Roach Hydra Lurker, like, you need tanks. Tanks are necessary. RyoGin is rotating. Rotating towards the left-hand side. Couple of tanks on the way. Oh. Now the CC. RyoGin is getting into 3-3 air upgrades, so again, he's going to be ready for a potential Broodlord switch in the future. After the next big fight. So basically, for the next fight, if RyoGin is able to reset the Thor count, then he can go into Broodlords. If he doesn't, then he should be sticking with Hydro Lurker. So we'll see how it goes. And again, my biggest concern were the Vipers. Oh wait, ¿a dónde están los Vipers, pa? He lost the Vipers earlier and he never rebuilt them. And without Vipers, there's no pushing into this. Like, there's no shot. From the high ground. Let's go.
Base is under attack.
Lurker's gonna go down. We do see RyoGin attempting a counterattack. Here he does push forward. And there's not many Lurkers in position. There's what, 2 Lurkers? Oh, good. Yeah, breaks through the defensive line. Lurkers go down. NeO breaks through. And where are the rest of the Lurkers here? They're across the map. Yeah, there's 2 Lurkers on the right. There's 3 Lurkers on the left. They are not in position to defend. Yeah, RyoGin out of position. He's morphing in Broodlords against all these Thors. Broodlords, that's not it. That's not the answer. And tanks are pushing forward. Again, to break these Lurker lines, tanks, they make this a little bit easier. And tanks are sieging up. Lurker goes down. Lurkers attempt to harass. Expansion pulls. Yeah, we did mention it's like Broodlords have their place only if the Thor count gets whittled away at, but the Thor count is still very healthy. Very healthy Thor counts. Now we have some Vipers. 4 Vipers here for RyoGin. He can abduct. Can abduct. Speaking of, oh, gets 1. Gets 1 Thor. Powerbomb on the Vikings. Nice split there from NeO. Kind of. Takes some bits on the lid. Nice abductions. He gets 2 more Thors. 3 in total. Okay. He's thinning at the Thor counts. As we mentioned, Thor count gets lower. We can get into more Broods. Ooh, that was a high-end shield. Oh, the Vipers! The Vipers overextend, and now there's no Vipers left. No energy here on the final Viper. He goes down as well. No more abductions. No more blinding clouds. Oh god, no, we cannot push in. And RyoGin, he cannot engage. Missile goes off. NeO, he can move in. NeO, he can be more assertive here. As he's now reinforcing. Getting into more Vikings, more Thors. Tanks are moving in. Oh, and RyoGin's gonna lose this army. Yeah, the Broodlords get targeted down. Losing 1, losing 2. And NeO is snowballing out of control. He breaks down that center expansion. We have more Broodlords on the more Broodlords on the way. Let's go. How many Thors are there? There's 5. 5 Thors. Up against soon to be 7 Broodlords. There are Vikings as well, bear that in mind. There's no Corruptors to support. The Vikings, they just go to town. Lurkers have been catching reinforcements. Broodlords moving in, but here come the Vikings. Oh, there's that 1 Corruptor. Oh, Vikings, they do rush past those Hydras. Hydras will clean this up, and the Thors are out of position. Yeah, Thors are too far behind. They're not a factor in the fight, and RyoGin, he will hold. Whew. He will hold on. Cleans up the army. NeO's in trouble. Again, the army control here was lacking. Like, he mispositioned his Vikings. The Thors were too far behind. RyoGin, he breaks out. And he will take down the planetary. And again, remember, NeO, he has a massive bank. NeO, he has 7k, 4k in the bank, but it takes a long time to rebuild. After losing a fight like that as quickly as he did, it takes a long time to rebuild. NeO needs time here. And RyoGin is going for the kill. He's going for the kill. Takes down one, takes down two planetaries. NeO trying to reinforce. Getting caught out in the open. Nice pickups here on some of those broods. There's the scan. And there's the scan. NeO, he's barely holding on, but he lost 30 SCVs. He's holding though. And again, he just has to remax. He hasn't spent his money. He has to macro, man. Not there. There we go. Getting more tanks, more Thors. NeO, he does hold on. And RyoGin is broke. RyoGin, he has no mineral bank. He has gas, that is true, but he has no minerals. RyoGin, he needs more damage. If he can knock down this CC, which is not a planetary, by the way, RyoGin, he can actually overwhelm NeO. He's going for it. Going for the CC. NeO out of position. Mineral line's going to go down. Massive pickoff. And yes, NeO has a bank, but I mean, the bank is finite. He's losing bases, losing his economy. And RyoGin just has to keep counterattacking. Just keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Send it. NeO, he turns back around. Has to deal with this. Lurker to the mineral line. Getting into the planetary. Planetary is going to be targeted down, but the repairs are good enough. NeO, he does hold. And RyoGin, we need to keep doing this. We need to just keep counterattacking. We cannot defend against this army. We cannot allow NeO to push out. RyoGin, we can't let this happen. Ah, but I mean, he barely has a force to work with. Here comes NeO. NeO, he's now maxed. He's now remaxed. Got a massive amount of Thors, tanks, Hellbats. NeO, he's ready. Things were looking shaky when he lost 2 bases, but NeO, now he's secure. He's secure. He's coming in. He's coming. Takes down the hatchery. Catches out the lurkers. NeO, the pants are up, Pappy. The pants are up. They're secure. He's good to go. And this time there's no brood lords, right? There's no brood lords. There's limited lurkers. And again, lurkers, they don't trade well against tanks. They just get outranged and outperformed. Tanks, they are the superior siege units. And RyoGin is just being overwhelmed. Attempting a run by, attempting a counterattack. Yo, we got some BCs. Nice positioning here, getting on top of the high ground. Catching out a couple of tanks, but BCs have arrived. They're just going into mass BC, making 3 BCs at a time. And it's a good position there for RyoGin, but he's losing bases. Losing bases just he cannot afford. If NeO wanted to, he could just keep going in towards the main bases, but just going for the fringe expansions for now. Going for the hatcheries. He scans. Again, NeO, he doesn't want to overextend. Oh no, the drones! They try to escape. There is no escape. There's no getting out of this. A handful of them do slip away. But NeO is going to chase them down. RyoGin going for a run by. Coming into the planetary. Drones are cleaned up. Planetary does get surrounded. And he will get it. Takes down the base, takes out a mineral line. Yeah, late reaction there from NeO. NeO pulling back. Does pull back. At least it's with the reinforcements. Still moving forward with his main army. And RyoGin, what does he have? He has 1 Broodlord. Oh no. Did I say 1 Brood? Nah, 0. Down to 0. Missile goes up. And NeO, he's gonna clean up. He's going for the kill at this point. I mean, he already has. There's barely anything left. A couple of Hydras. A couple of Lings. Did have a back and forth, but again, RyoGin had a really odd approach when it came to his army composition. That's what I will say. If you recall, like, he had like a couple of Broodlords at a time, then into Lurker attack, then into some Vipers only sometimes. And GG gets called. NeO, he does fight back, does put a point on the board. GG. Whew. Let's go. Let's go, Pappy. Let's go. GG, well played. Does tie things up. Again, RyoGin, unfortunately, I will say that the best moments in this game for RyoGin were when he had his spellcasters. There were two moments. There were two fights where he actually had 4 Vipers. He was able to abduct, able to Blinding Cloud, and he had some really strong moments with that. But if you remember, every time that he lost the Vipers, he never replaced them. He never did replace them. It took him a long time to actually get back into Vipers after losing the first pack. And without his spellcasters, again, he just had a really hard time engaging with the mech army. Likewise, also really awkward composition as well, like going back and forth between like lurkers and broodlords. It was, yeah, very expensive doing so as well, which came into play as RyoGin did run out of money, did run out of resources, and with that, GG. GG, well played. NeO does fight back, and we're going into game number 3. Gonna be loading into Amygdala, and this is the only series so far tonight that has been a back and forth. We've had some very close games and close series, but they've all been 3-0s. Until now, here it's going to be a 2-1 scoreline. Which way is it going to go? Let's go. Let's go. When the pants are down, all reasoning is out the window. No. Buen día, papi. Buen día, buen día. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Hoggers, we got options. I mean, there's having options, and there's what RyoGin did, which was crazy. It's crazy. Let's go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the Peruvian Terran player, the red Terran representing Infernales Esports. It is NeO. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player from the land of Bolivia, representing Infernales Esports as well. It is RyoGin. We go. As NeO, he was finally able to like settle into the mid game in that last game against RyoGin. If you recall, against VortiX, we had non-stop 2-base Muta, non-stop all-ins, hyper-aggression from VortiX. Likewise, we had an all-in from RyoGin in game 1 as well. And it was the one and only game that NeO got into the mid game where he was able to win. Like, he was like, finally, I can make units, I can be on a 3-base economy. It was crazy. And NeO did overwhelm. Can he get here? Can he get there on Amygdala? That's the question. Now, coming into Amygdala, it is a large map. It is a large map in the map pool. It can be difficult to be aggressive on this map. This map is known for longer, later games. So NeO, he is a mech player. I do favor NeO coming into a map like Amygdala, but we'll see how RyoGin will approach this, because RyoGin has not been standard. If you recall, every game so far, he has gone Link speed into Overlord speed into Lair, and from there he has options. From there, RyoGin can go into a Drop Lord German Taxi all-in, he can go into Roach play into the mid game, he can go into Mutas, into Spire. RyoGin is just very tech heavy early on and very aggressive, and we'll see what he does with that. I'm also assuming he doesn't pull out of gas, which he hasn't been doing so far in this series. So it's been a very unique style here by RyoGin. Reaper moves out, RyoGin confirms the Rax Expand, standard opener out of NeO. RyoGin, you can see here, Link speed, and he stays in gas. And for those that may be born here for the rest of the series, this is for Overlord speed. He goes Link speed, then Overlord speed, then around a 4-minute lair timing. As he just stays in, he just takes all the gas. Meanwhile, we do have NeO dancing with the Lings, shuts them down, third base is on the way. NeO behind this going 3cc, 3cc, 111 out of NeO, standard opener out of our Terran player. This should lead into mech. That should be the direction here of NeO. Reaper does pull away. RyoGin, he does have his 100 gas. We should be seeing Overlord speed momentarily. As Lings, they dip in. They take down the Marine. They're going for the mineral line here. NeO out of position. The Reaper's not at home. Oh, and this is getting out of hand. 2 SCV kills already. Very nice damage here by RyoGin. Going for the mule, denying mining time. And even delaying the add-ons. Oh god. Delays the add-on swap. Yeah, brutal damage here. RyoGin having a very nice start. Behind this, he has almost 300 gas. RyoGin, he was hyper-fixated here on the harassment. And where are we going? Ooh. Early Roach Warren. Remember, I had assumed it was going to be Overlord speed into a lair. Not the case. Early Roach Warren into a Roach Bush. I mean, RyoGin, he has momentum. He's getting another SCV. Where are they? I mean, the Hellions were delayed. The add-on swap was delayed. The Hellions were delayed. Everything is late here for NeO. And here is NeO. He is struggling. Lings, they go back in. NeO gets to respond. Cannot afford to get surrounded. Yeah, Lings, they attempt to run by. Oh, speaking of, collapses in. Takes down the gas, guys, are not bad. Takes down the gas, that is important here as we are trying to get into mech, a very gas-heavy composition. And here comes the all-in. Here, it's all or nothing for RyoGin. You're getting up to 2 gases, getting up to almost 2 base saturation, at least 2 base mineral line saturation. 37 drones, and Mass Roach. Mass Roach is on the way. No lair, no Roach speed, no dropper lords, just pure vanilla roaches. And they're coming, they're moving out. And the problem is, because of all the chaos, because all the damage that's been done, NeO sees nothing. NeO, he sees nothing across the map, he's stuck at home. The Ling aggression has been non-stop, so NeO, he's afraid to move out. He scans, he sees. He sees the Roach Warren, but he doesn't see the lack of lair. This doesn't look too committed, this doesn't look too scary. NeO, he throws down more factories, and here comes the all-in. The all-in has arrived, there's no bunker, no Sim City. Hellions respond, RyoGin moving in. He's going for the kill, he's going for the kill. NeO, he does evacuate in time, he has to pull the boys. Oh, the Miles! Miles don't quite connect, they force back the Hellions, SCVs are going down. The Banshees eventually will kill everything. But damage is being done. Nice wall. Does lift in time. But the Deeper's being knocked down. RyoGin does waddle in. Stutter steps forward. Busts into the base. He hasn't dealt enough damage yet. He's killed 12 SCVs. But now more are going to be falling. Yeah, more workers going to be going down. Nice positioning here from RyoGin. Using SimCity against him. Against NeO. Taking down 18 SL miles. Oh my god. Taking down 22 SCVs. And NeO, he will hold, he will defend, but at a cost. Now he's down 10 workers. He lost his Hellions. Losing even more SCVs here on the low ground. Down to 23. Now, he does have mules, and he does have a 3rd orbital, true. This is actually reminding me of Game 3 between NeO and VortiX, where VortiX also did similar damage. VortiX, I think he did more damage even, but VortiX, he was able to cripple the economy and contain NeO on one base. Here, NeO, he should be faster to expand at the natural, but Lings, they flood in once again. They surround. Yeah, they surround the Hellion. Hellion goes down. Lings, they get into the middle line. Even more damage is being done. This should not have happened. This second wave is brutal. Getting another 5 SCVs. NeO, he was recovering. He was recovering. He was bouncing back in the process of. And RyoGin, what does he go for? Lair into Spire, into Mutas. So he's switching into Mutas. RyoGin, he's still not droning. RyoGin, he's still staying on a very low drone count, 40 workers. He was at 37 for the all-in. Now he made a couple of drones. Now taking up. There are spores in position. No spore at the 3rd yet. Banshees are moving out. Banshees move out, and NeO, he is not ready for Mutas. These Banshees, they need a scout. They check the 3rd. They confirm saturation. Going for the Queen. Queen does get away. Oh, spoke too soon. Queen goes down. Likewise, oh god, the 3rd wave has arrived. Forget about the Mutas, we're just going in with the Roach Ravager. We get a surround, 1 tank goes down. Boys are being pulled, 2nd tank is going to fall. There's 1 tank left. And again, NeO, he's racing back home with the Banshees. He was vulnerable. Miles on the tank, no! cannot escape. Viles can bring it down. And NeO, he's not holding this. Not this time. This is just far too much damage. There's one more tank remaining. Lingzei flood in. The wall is going to be broken. And RyoGin, he busts into the main. GG gets called. He overwhelms. And RyoGin, he will take the series at 2-1. Whew. GG. GG. Well played, RyoGin. He will claim the series. NeO just unable to get into his own games here. Again, only once here tonight was he able to get into the mid game. Every other game, just non-stop all-ins or hyper-aggression. NeO, he just wasn't able to get comfortable against VortiX or even against RyoGin, except for that one game on King's Cove. There, NeO could thrive. He was able to thrive, able to overwhelm, able to max out with his mech army, but outside of that, he was denied that in all these other games. GG. GG, well played. Whew. That is going to wrap up our group. That is going to wrap up our group here for tonight's broadcast. Ooh. As we catch up on the matches of this evening. Again, a lot of 3-0s. Now, despite the scoreline, despite all these 3-0s, a lot of these games, a lot of these series were very, very close. We had NeO versus ShiftClick in the first round, ShiftClick versus VortiX, VortiX versus Ducklings versus NeO, and then RyoGin versus NeO at the end. And again, it was great to see VortiX once again. VortiX, he is a legend in SE2. He retired many years ago, back in 2016. So he has been out of the game for 9 years. And he is back, at least for this tournament. He's back for this tournament. It's great to see him return here after such a long hiatus. Is he only back for the tournament? Is he going to return for even more StarCraft? Yet to be determined. Like, he's quite successful in AoE 4. He's quite successful in AoE 4, so I don't know if he's too incentivized to make a full return, but it's still great to see him in this tournament nonetheless. It's still great to see him. As VortiX does come out in first place. VortiX, he does come out of the group in first place. And when it comes to who comes out in second place, again, it was a little more competitive. We had RyoGin, we had NeO, we had Ducklings. I will say that technically this group isn't finalized because there are still some matches that have not been played. I believe Ducklings versus NeO and Ducklings versus RyoGin still have not played out. Remember, just to wind it back here, these matches are played ahead of time and replays are submitted to the casters. So replays are submitted over time, and the group stage concludes in a couple of weeks. So we still have a couple of weeks left of the group stage. Some of the groups are done, and we've already casted them. Group A to D. Group A to D we already covered, but some of these later groups, they still have a couple of ongoing matches, so we haven't finalized them completely yet, but we do know that VortiX makes it through. VortiX, he is 100% making it out in first place. Right now, there is still contention between RyoGin and Ducklings to make it out in second place, so there's still a little bit of variability there to find out who else makes it through. Regardless, GG. Regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations here to VortiX, and a shout out to all the others. Like, again, I had a blast. If you missed out on the matches, I do still think that the highlight of the broadcast was VortiX versus Ducklings. VortiX versus Ducklings, it was crazy. it was wild. So it was a beautiful series, and I do recommend it. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much, and make sure you tune in later on this week for some more HSL, for some more Hispanic StarCraft II League. Again, we are going to be covering Group G next. Switching on over, bam! You can see the updated group here. Group G, we have Tavito, oh my god, we have Tavo versus Mike Savage, Eva, Cristo Dorado, we have Cristo Dorado versus Hunter as well. We have a lot of matches coming up in Group G. That is what we're going to be covering later on in the week. Quickly checking our schedule. Bam, there you go. As you can see here, we just wrapped up with our Tuesday broadcast with the Hispanic Star League. That was Tuesday evening. Tomorrow we're live with Code for Giants Cup and the Rex March Madness. Thursday we're live with Turtle Tussle and the Pondcast, and Friday, that is Group G. Friday we're live with the HSL with Group G. Gonna be covering David. So 2 groups this week. I think we have 2 groups left after this, and we're going to be covering those groups next week. We also have the Host Open on Saturday. We have SCL on Sunday. We have Sparkling Tuna Cup, as always, on a weekly basis. Plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft. You can see that we have 2 half days off. I will be filling up that Saturday slot with another broadcast. Most likely either a StarCraft Evolution show match, Hero. Hero and Beyond, they had a show match, so we're most likely going to cover that there. Otherwise, we could cover Kung Fu Cup. Kung Fu Cup is another event that we couldn't cast. Right now, Kung Fu Cup is actually clashing with the Rex March Madness, so they're both at the same time. We can only cast one, so we're going to be casting the Rex March Madness, and we'll have to catch up with the Kung Fu Cup another day. We'll catch up. Bye, mech. Didn't get into his mech. But yeah, with that, GG, well played. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time. And again, this is the Hispanic StarCraft II League. This is a big group stage into the playoff bracket. This is a league funded by the community, for the community. A big shout out to specifically the Spanish community for hosting and for funding this. The members or the viewers and watchers of Bond, of Protosito, of the Novak, of Enki as well. A lot of content creators did collaborate to make this a reality, and a lot of support for the event. A lot of support, and most likely there's going to be a season 2. Most likely. So there's going to be a second season of this event, so do look forward to it. Otherwise, as you can see, we have plenty of content on the channel. If you cannot watch this live, if you want to tune into the VODs of these events, then check out our YouTube. !socials in the chat. We do upload on YouTube on a daily basis. Plenty of content on YouTube. We cast more than any other channel out there. So there's plenty of content, plenty of coverage. We do all the StarCraft and even more than that. That's all the content, all the casting, all the StarCraft. Again, our next broadcast is going to be tomorrow morning. That is going to be in around 9 hours. In around like 8-ish hours, 8 hours time, 9 hours time. We're going to be live with Code for Giants Cup. If you're curious, what is Code for Giants Cup? That is a bi-weekly Brazilian tournament. Tournament for Brazilian players. So featuring players like Inexorable, Master, Allison, Dorminoko, and Eric. Eric, of course, the CranKy Duckling himself. Going to be featuring him tomorrow morning. So we got you covered there. So do tune in to Code for Giants Cup. Otherwise, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for watching. We do appreciate it. You can support us via Patreon. Thank you so much to all of our patrons, by the way. We did get a new patron last night, and because of that, we are one step closer to our next goal. 100% of the money on Patreon, it all goes towards our tournaments. It all goes towards the players. So if you want to support our tournaments, if you want to support StarCraft, specifically these events, bam, on my right, Sea Duckling Open, Sparkling Tuning Cup, and Masters Swan Open. These are the regular events that we do host, and these are the events that are funded via Patreon. You can support those events via Patreon as well. Our next goal is to boost the prize pool of Sparkling Tuning Cup even further, and it's large enough where it's been attracting some more players. Like, we have all of our regulars in Sparkling Tuning Cup, like Geralt, Christianer, Björn, Nightmare, Shin, but now, because the prize pool has been increasing, we've had more regulars like Skillus, like Solar, like Bunny as well, Ryung. Ryung was more of a regular beforehand, but again, more players are being drawn towards our events thanks to the growth of the prize pool and thanks to the growth of the tournaments. So thank you so much. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. I'm sure the players appreciate it as well. Players do appreciate it. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. We're going to be wrapping up here for the evening, and we're going to be back in 8 hours time or 9 hours time with our next broadcast. So do tune into that, and otherwise, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your night, rest of your day. Hope you have a great week as well, and take care out there. Be careful when it comes to laddering. Don't smooge too hard. Don't smooge in bite-sized amounts. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Till then, thanks for watching. Hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.